What's up, y'all? Hi, everybody. What's going on? I'm going to give everybody a chance to come into the room. Y'all know how these members onlys tend to go. If I put out the link too late, child. Hi, though. I have been listening to this book. Okay. I love a good book recommendation off TikTok. And it's called Caliban and the Witch. And it's a history book about basically from like the English times, maybe like 1300s, all the way up until now, and how capitalism started off with the feudalism and the privatization of land and the creating of what did they call it? Borders or some shit like that. I'm probably not saying it right, but like basically land privatization. They fought a lot to not have land privatized for like a long time because it really created this separation between people being able to live freely on the land. It meant that the people who was trying to exploit them, basically, it was easier to exploit people if they didn't have anywhere to go. I'm about to play this clip for y'all that I posted from my Instagram. But this book is so fascinating, y'all. It's crazy to me how I feel like the only reason why history is taught the way it is because they don't want you to know the truth. Like they don't want you to know the truth because if you know the truth, then you're gonna want to rebel and you're not gonna want to do this shit. Once you realize history wise how many times we keep going through the cycle of the same shit, but they think if they can destroy history, that means that people will forget. And that's what happens, y'all. People are literally online fighting for their own oppression, fighting for their own exploitation. And there was a point in time where people knew what was going on. So they weren't so willing to give over their freedom the way we do. And I just want to play this for y'all. I edited this together from a portion that I was listening to, but the way I have been walking around my house and then because I was kind of straightening up and cleaning up a little bit, and I would have to go back to my phone and back it up because I'm like, I need to hear that part again. The fuck? So I want to play this for y'all. And I want y'all to, try to listen with your listening ears because I think this book is that's why I have to listen to it more than once so that I can make sure I'm getting what's being said.
Point in the course of the medieval struggles was the Black Death, which killed, on an average, between 30% and 40% of the European population. Coming in the wake of the Great Famine of 1315 and 22 that weakened people's resistance to disease, this unprecedented demographic collapse profoundly changed Europe's social and political life, practically inaugurating a new era. Social hierarchies were turned upside down because of the leveling effects of the widespread morbidity. Familiarity with death also undermined social discipline. Confronted with the possibility of sudden death, people no longer cared to work or to abide by social and sexual regulations.
Do y'all hear that? I'm gonna reiterate it for y'all, what she just said. The Black Plague caused people for a lot of people to die, but it caused people to have weakened immune systems. So they lost a good 30% of their population all at one time. Okay. This also made people not give a fuck because they felt like death was looming in a way that it never was before. So why even work? Why even do this shit? Why not just enjoy it while I can until it's over? That's the mentality that the people grew to have. So that means they don't want to work.
But tried to have the best of times, feasting for as long as they could, without thought of the future. The scarcity of labor which the epidemic caused shifted the power relation to the advantage of the lower classes. When land had been scarce, the peasants could be controlled by the threat of expulsion. But after the population was decimated and land became abundant, the threats of the lords ceased to have any serious effect, as the peasants could now freely move and find new land to cultivate. Thus, while the crops were rotting and livestock wandered in the fields, peasants and artisans suddenly became masters of the situation. A symptom of this new development was the growth of rent strikes. By the end of the 14th century, the refusal—
Y'all heard that, right? before everybody died, everybody's scared, like, oh, if I don't work, if I don't do this, I'm not going to have a place to stay because they're going to just expel me. But now so many people have died that if I don't want to work for this one, there's another one that needs somebody because they lost a lot of their workforce too. So we can just go over there. This created a power that they had never had before.
Refusal of rent and services had become a collective phenomenon. Entire villages jointly organized to stop paying fines, taxes, and tallage, and no longer recognize the commuted services or the injunctions of the manorial courts, which were the main instrument of feudal power.
They basically saying they stop giving a fuck and paying attention to the entire system. Stop paying taxes, stop paying stop paying. Just stop doing it. Stop working, stop being police. Like just stop everything. Like but it has to be everybody. Everybody has to be like, okay, we're just not gonna do it anymore. If this was y'all, we're gonna tap out. What are y'all gonna do?
Another aspect of the divisive sexual politics that the princes and municipal authorities pursued to diffuse workers' protests was the institutionalization of prostitution.
So they continue to try to fight against the people, like, because it's always a fight. They never can just, stop fighting to exploit people. Godly, no, they got to keep exploiting people. They got to keep trying to find a way to turn people into servants for themselves, right? So the people are always fighting them in order to break apart the union labors that were taking place. They decide to implement state-backed prostitution, meaning that the first brothels were actually from the state, and this was their way of giving you coochie so that you'll not be as angry and you'll do what we need you to do.
Implemented through the opening of municipal brothels, soon proliferating throughout Europe. Enabled by the contemporary high-wage regime, state-managed prostitution was seen as a useful remedy for the turbulence of proletarian youth, who in La Grande Maison, as the state brothel was called in France.
The proletarian people are the people trying to fight to stop being exploited. They're the workers. They're the ones that the nobles and the bourgeoisie and all of them, like they want to make everybody a servant. They want people to come and work on their land. They want to be able to abuse people. They want to be able to not give them their just due. Like they want to be able to keep people in constant and consistent servitude. So just so you know who the proletarians are, these are the people that basically are the poor people. We're just gonna say that the poor people, because you'll understand when I say that.
France could enjoy a privilege previously reserved for older men. The municipal brothel was also considered a remedy against homosexuality, which in several European towns, for example Padua and Florence, was widely and publicly practiced, but in the aftermath of the Black Death was beginning to be feared as a cause of depopulation.
You see, like people have always been gay, and there have been times when it has not been a problem. They make y'all think this shit has always been this issue, as if people have not been fighting to be free for fucking ever. It's exhausting when you think about it. It's like the cycle keeps happening over and over and over again.
Thus, between 1350 and 1450, publicly managed tax-financed brothels were opened in every town and village in Italy and France, in numbers far superior to those reached in the 19th century. Amiens alone had 53 brothels in 1453. The state became the ultimate manager of class relations and the supervisor of the reproduction of labor power, a function it has continued to perform to this day. In this capacity, state officers passed laws in many countries that set limits to the cost of labor by fixing the maximum wage.
So all of the work, the poor men and women came together and fought to create some type of balance. The rich motherfuckers were starting to get mad that you couldn't tell the difference between a worker and a landowner. They got mad. And so they got together, the church and the landowners who never really saw eye to eye. They decided to join together in order to fight the poor people that were trying to get their freedom in abundance of ways. But controlling sex, controlling how women reproduce, all of those things, that was a part of them starting like capitalism. I need for people to understand that people were living a different way before and it actually worked better, but they've kind of burned all the books and shit. So you don't know about previous versions. And then when we bring it up, everybody acts like you're just trying to go back to some bygone era that can never be again. And that's not it. You want to move into the future, but you really need to understand the past in order to have a clear picture about what would be better in the future. If we think this time period that we live in right now, from the ending of slavery until now, or a little bit before slavery until now, Egypt until now, you literally see these patterns of behavior where there's always a group of people that are trying to enslave everybody else. In the same ways to do that, repeat over and over again. Obsession about sex, obsession about religion. And you don't even realize that it's something that continues to happen. Like I told y'all yesterday about how all of those white people are like arguing with me on Threads, and I have never had white people arguing. First of all, white people have never even found me on Threads, so it was weird that they even ended up there. And then they say shit like, well, maybe you should make your page private. I don't have to make my fucking page private for you to read the room and realize this ain't your crowd and to go where you are wanted and not where you are being blocked. Like, it's weird. I'll argue with black people about this, but I don't want to argue with white people about this because I'm not talking to you. If it said happy Juneteenth, nobody's talking to you. You weren't freed on Juneteenth, my nigga. This is not the 4th of July. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. But then that's a part of it, right? That's a part of it. For us to be down here fighting amongst each other, and then specifically white people fighting with a black woman about black billionaires. Why are you so invested in me seeing myself in I'm sorry, how many? 23 black billionaires out of the 813 of them that reside in the United States? You want us to feel so great because there's front-facing 23 black billionaires out of the 813 that live in this country. So we should just take those crumbs, shouldn't we? Even though that is merely an illusion and an image, it really does nothing for the whole of us for real. And then if the billionaire is someone that is exploiting in another way, y'all, it's not helping. It's merely y'all allowing certain peasants to become nobles so that those nobles will then be able to keep control of the rest of the peasants. That's really all it is. This book is called Caliban and the Witch: Women, the Body, and Primitive Accumulation by Sylvia Federici. Okay? It's an amazing, amazing read, especially if you understand what's happening currently. And I also feel like there's some solace in reading history books, y'all, because this is not the first time that they have made people feel like this. This is not the first time that a government has been mentally, physically, and emotionally exploiting the fears and the labor of its people for the benefit of a select few. So yes, just like white billionaires don't give a fuck about poor white people, black billionaires don't give a fuck about poor black people. But because of the way blackness has been, the way it's turned into a social construct where we find pride and connectivity amongst ourselves, we keep trying to align ourselves with people simply because they're black. And it's really some pick-me shit at essence. In essence, whenever you are looking at some, elevated space, people, rich people, famous people, whatever, and you always are looking for a black person, that's some pick-me shit. It is. I know, y'all. It used to feel like safety, but now that you realize that, the black people amongst a group of fucked up white people are fucked up people too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you hear me? So I feel like once you realize it really is like a class system thing, it's not about color, then you realize as a black person, you also, if you can recognize that white people are doing it, you have to be able to look at how we're doing it too. I'm rooting for everybody black. If Tyler Perry, with his current work, was at an award show, I would not root for him over a white person or Asian person that did better work. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And I don't think we should. I think we should give each other the benefit of the doubt before we give it to people outside of ourselves. But I really feel like it's really just all us poor people, or us not knowing we're poor people, like us, that are still like fighting and working and laboring to live. Like, you know what this is, to feel imprisoned in this system and feel like you can't just do what you want to do, which is sometimes nothing, not a goddamn thing. But you want to have a nice house. You want to live somewhere where you could be comfortable. And so you feel like it's what you should want. But I'm telling y'all, based on what I'm reading history wise, when people just build on a certain plot of land, nobody owned it, but a group of people will build on a spot of land, and they rarely have to worry about people trying to come and take the part of the land that they're on, because there's so much land. So you could just go and find your spot. You don't have to fight over this spot. But when people work their land, meaning that they grew their own food, anything that they wanted for themselves, they had to create for themselves, y'all. It seems like a lot of labor, but it came with a lot of freedom, because it didn't require you to work for somebody else like a slave. You know what I mean? And I feel like there are things that we want to do, you know what I mean, that this capitalist shit allows us to do. But ultimately, the true freedom, I believe, was when people was just living on land, had they home, found a way to get clean drinking water through well systems and shit like that. Like, those people living on their own shit. It wasn't until y'all decided to privatize land and tell people that they needed to pay taxes on property that they fucking own, that we are like, it keeps trying to push you into a corner to be in a system where you have to slave for somebody. And reading that them people at some point, because of how close they had come to imminent death with the Black Plague and all of that, the way they had decided to just say, fuck this shit, that is similar to what happened with COVID and people working from home. That's why Trump and all of them keep trying to get y'all to go back to work, because this system does not work when you are allowed to be more lax. Because the more that you can do this at your will, the more you want to do it at your will, and not at somebody else's 9 to 5, 8 to 13 hour shift time clock. Tyler Perry and Oprah and whoever being billionaires doesn't do anything for me. I don't benefit from it. No, for real. Not really. Not really. In these very performative, illusory ways, but not in real tangible ways. You know what I mean? Like, the work that actually helped us was regular people fighting for civil rights, like regular people joining arms and fighting for liberties that all of us should be able to enjoy, like the freedom and all of that. Like, when we all came together, us regular people, that was the only time that we actually made strides. Making 23 people out in the whole fucking bunch of us. How many, like, what, 37 million? I don't know. How many Black people is it in this country? And 23 of them are billionaires out of 813. I'm just saying. I mean, it's not a lot, but there shouldn't be a lot of billionaires. The fuck? There shouldn't be any, if you're trying to be real. Because you know how many millions of dollars? Like, do you know how much hundreds of millions of dollars? Y'all, you could not spend all of that money. You could not spend all of that money. The want to be a billionaire is really, to me, I don't care what people are talking about when they say it's not that they're hoarding. They may not be hoarding, but they are exploiting. They're absolutely exploiting. There's no way of getting around it. Like, my grandfather's land, we are cattle farmers and have over 350 acres of land, and it has been in my family for over 3 generations. That's a fucking blessing. Because you know how many people from 3 generations ago got their farms stole by way of redlining and increasing property taxes and not giving Black people loans to pay those taxes, so they lose their land to banks. Those are bank people. Everybody that's looking for that percentage, you know, everybody likes to think, oh, it's the Illuminati, the 1%. The 1% are the fucking billionaires, people. The billionaires and the trillionaires. Those are the 1%. Those are the people pulling the strings. Stop, you know, bullshitting with yourself into thinking that because you see these people and they're black, that means they're like you or they give a fuck about you. When it comes to Tyler Perry, if you cared about black people, you wouldn't be fighting labor unions and overworking them fucking people the way you do. At base level, y'all, the way people treat their workers and their laborers, that shit is such a huge, huge sign of the type of person that they are. Because if you really remember what it's like to work hard, you really shouldn't want to put people through unnecessary bullshit. Unless when you became rich, you disassociated from the poor version of yourself so that you don't have to remember what it was like to be that person. Now you hate that person instead of integrating that person into who you are now so that you do handle people with care. Because why the fuck are you trying to fuck somebody and put a career over their head instead of having relationships with people that would want to fuck with you? Why do you need to coerce somebody? Because you need to dominate, because you need to have power. Why? Because you feel out of control of yourself. Why is that? Therapy. People, help yourselves. Okay. Now let's get back into what we left off with yesterday, which is K Michelle on Cam Newton. We're gonna finish this and then we're gonna get into, that's why I'm only doing one live today, girl, because it's just me and you. Okay, we're gonna get into the rest. I'm gonna run my intro and we're gonna do this members only shit. Okay, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate all my members. I hope y'all know that. Come on in, come on in, come on in, not come on in, not come. Sorry, y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right?
Members only, members only, members only, members only, Okay. Let's get into it, y'all.
And then for another woman to go and benefit all my hard work. And you believe that? So that is true.
No, for sure. Because the thing about it is experiences, you can't go back in time and get those.
Yeah.
And I just hate that I ruined good women.
Oh.
I would say, listen.
He doesn't hate it. He doesn't hate it. In all honesty, he feels empowered that he's able to do that. He feels empowered that he's able to take these very special, strong, beautiful, well-composed, put together women and whittle them down to size. He actually enjoys that. You could tell he bullshitting in the inflection in his voice. I'm gonna let him do it again.
And it's sad to say that a lot of women have prepped another man.
For another woman. Build a bear. I got a song called Build a Bear. I didn't build this man, then took this from him, put that one here. I wish I could build a man. And then for another woman to go and benefit all my hard work. And you believe that? So that is true.
No, for sure. Because the thing about it is experiences, you can't go back in time and get those.
Yeah.
And I just hate that I ruined good women.
Oh.
I would say, listen.
Did you ruin them or did you
man,
make
I had
them?
some.
How did you make them
No.
tough?
No. I ran through the six with my look.
The fact that he goes into a song should let you know that he doesn't to me, you going into a song to reiterate how you have destroyed the women that you've been in relationships with showcases the fact that you actually are proud of that fact. Because there's a song that you can sing that you align with that reminds you of the power you possess to destroy these women.
I'm telling you, another saying.
And because he doesn't even want to hear the possible argument that you did not destroy them, but you simply strengthen them so that they will be able to see versions of you in the future and they won't fall prey to it again. Like, you don't even want to accept that because you don't want her to be empowered by your abuse. Because you're not, girl, because you're not sorry. Okay. You wanted to do that. You want her to be nothing because of you.
God has a funny sense of humor.
Oh my God, Autumn. What do I say all day? God, I was going to name my country album. God has a sense of humor. I say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
God has a sense of humor.
But here it is, Autumn. God has a funny sense of humor because nothing's worse than meeting the right person
At the wrong
time of your life.
At the wrong time.
Because as I look back, and dare I question what I have now,
Mhm.
but we have conversations. Because I would ask her, has a man ever got away?
Yeah.
Her response is what her response is.
Mhm.
It will still remain nameless or mentionless. And for me, I ran through so many good girls because they was giving me everything. But I could.
You know why? Because it's more y'all that ain't shit than there are us that ain't shit. But y'all don't never want to have that conversation. Y'all always want to act like we're in some toxic fight where women are doing something just as bad to men at the same rate as men are doing bad shit to women. And we keep saying that is not the case. Because when I look around, my friend group or the women that I have known, how they at one point or another were doing everything based off of love for some man that was not taking that shit seriously. Not only was he not taking it seriously, I feel like on some level they clown women when the women actually start to take care of them and love on them. They enjoy it, but also there's a part of them that see like, ha, gotcha, bitch. Thought you was smarter. Thought you was so smart, but look at you in love with my ain't shit ass. Look at you. You stupid. And then understand how them thinking women are stupid when women fall in love with them feeds their ability to mistreat you because then it makes them feel like you deserve it. It's the energy you have to have with somebody to repeatedly harm them. And we say men because this is a lot of the times the way men will, the way they digest a mother wound. But I have experienced this same thing with women, and those women have mother wounds. They have, in one moment or another, shitty moms.
Wasn't ready to receive.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And that, when that comes at you so fast, and as you start realizing, it's like, okay, you're a man doing a Build-A-Bear too. Okay, I like this. I like them buns.
No, girl, you do not, I want to say this. No, you do not need a man mistreating you to make you tough. No, the fuck you don't. You don't. But you do need to be able to see how they move in order to see what they do before they get they or they get the hooves in you.
Like that. Oh, I like her. I like her submissiveness. Okay, I like her cooking. Okay, I like her.
Is that why men have different women for different things? Honestly, not you now, you have somebody, but is that why men say this girl can cook good, this girl has the best head, this girl this and that?
I can't speak to a lot of men, but the things that I have been faced with in the past is,
yes, they want to be some type of chocolate white person, but a rich white person that goes to the Derby. You know what I'm saying? Bets on horses, wears ascots and fucking blazers when it's 80 degrees outside. You know what I'm saying? Yes. You know, and I'm not gonna judge him too hard for that because, you know, I do like the cocaine dealer vibe, like, you know, to be a Cuban man selling cocaine with such a beautiful wardrobe of short sleeve shirts and white linen pants. Yes. Okay, there's an aesthetic that I like there. Not adopting, you know, the mentality of these people because I like the aesthetic. And he is adopting the mentality of internalized racism on him and Shannon Brown. They both do it. It's not at the same rate, but they do it.
something that once started as something is no longer that.
Yeah.
I've always, every single situation, every single person I've ever been with knew that Cam was the real one. Oh, we're going to have deep conversations. And I would even say this. In a relationship,
y'all having deep conversations with this stupid motherfucker, girl.
Be very mindful that you go through these different phases. In a relationship, you talk about everything.
Okay.
That's when things are typically new.
Okay.
You talk about everything.
All right.
Then you go through a phase where you talk about some things. That's where the respect comes in at. And you start saying, this is my girlfriend. This is my fiance. This is my wife.
Okay.
Some things. And then there goes a phase. And now you in D1, you start talking about nothing. When you start talking about nothing,
it's over.
That's when crevices are created because a man is still yearning the desire to talk about everything. So when I'm ready to talk about whether a female or history or my work day,
he's projecting and using language that women use in order to punish women and manipulate them into being okay with the abuse. That's what he's doing right there. I want to back it up and then now explain to you what I'm saying.
It's because they was giving me everything, but I couldn't.
Wasn't ready to
I wasn't
receive.
ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And that when that comes at you so fast, And as you start realizing, it's like, okay, you're a man doing a Build-A-Bear too. Okay, I like this. I like them buns. I like that. Oh, I like her. I like her submissiveness. Okay, I like her cooking. Okay, I like her.
Is that why men have different women for different things? Honestly, not you now. You have somebody, but is that why men say this girl can cook good? This girl has the best head. This girl, this and that.
A lot. I can't speak to a lot of men, but the things that I have been faced with in the past is something that once started as something is no longer that.
Yeah.
I've always, every single situation, every single person I've ever been with knew that Cam was the real one. Oh, we're gonna have deep conversations. And I would even say this, in a relationship, be very mindful that you go through these different phases. In a relationship, you talk about everything.
Okay.
That's when things are typically new.
Okay.
You talk about everything.
All right.
Then you go through a phase where you talk about some things. That's where the respect comes in at. And you start saying, this is my girlfriend, this is my fiance, this is my wife.
Okay.
Some things. And then there goes a phase, and now you in deep one, you start talking about nothing. When you start talking about nothing,
it's over.
That's when crevices are created, because a man is still yearning the desire to talk about everything.
Since when? Since when?
So when I'm ready to talk about whether a female or history or my work day or good food or let's go outside, let's do this, let's judge this person, let's kick back, let's go on vacation, let's go to the strip club, let's do this, let's do that, everything. Oh man,
that's the time.
That you go, man, you are all in one. You the homie.
Then it changed.
And then it changed to something.
Why it changed so quick? Why does it change so quick? There's this heightened sense of love, and then all of a sudden it's like
every situation is different, but
because when a bitch give you an inch, you niggas take a mile. That's what it gives to me. First of all, we're gonna talk about 3 phases of some shit, but really it feels like you love bombing. That's what it feels like. Let me see something, because I think I remember somebody talking about the 3 stages of manipulation in relationships and how that actually works. Oh my God. I need to find I hate when I forget to save certain ones that I meant to save. Let me see. I might have saved it. I might have reposted it. Let me see if I can find it, y'all. Give me a second. What's it? It's not it. Oh my God. I hate when I do this, y'all. Because it was such a good read. It was such a good read on like these 3 stages that they actually take you through mentally. Let me see, because I might still have it. Hold up. Okay, bitch. Where the rest of them at? Show where's the rest? I know I didn't like more than this. Where the rest of my likes? So they make my life so difficult. Y'all, if I ever find it, hold up, let me refresh the page, because I would love to play that for y'all, because I be liking to give y'all the game, man. And one way or another, it's just hard to remember all the videos. Let me see. Let's see. That's not it. Was it that lady though? I don't know. Holding on. Y'all just give me a sec. I'm sorry. I hate that I'm taking this long. Is it? Nah, that's about 1 in 3 men abusing their partners. Child, this lady called Trump taco tits. When I tell you, I was floored. She called that man taco tits. I said, wow. That's wild. Hold up, y'all. Damn it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I be liking so much shit. It can be hard sometimes to like remember which ones had the best reads in them that y'all could get the most amount of like, you know, meat off of. And I can't remember exactly what was being said in order to explain it to y'all. God damn it, I'm gonna let them keep talking though. Yeah, no, taco tits. I'm telling y'all, I was dying.
But every situation needs to understand the power of communication. That's really where it stems from. Because for me, even having relationships or trying to have healthy relationships through a co-parenting state, it still takes communication. There's times that it's good and it's good, but barricades has to be set. I'm an inclusive person. I come from a big family. So to that point, I've always wanted a lot of kids.
How many kids you want?
All right, you think I'm tripping.
Kevin, how many kids you want?
Peggy, just because you think I'm tripping. How many kids I say I want?
11.
How many kids you got?
8.
Oh, Chaya.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always said that though. You can ask my first baby mama.
But that's what you wanted, this big family.
My grandmother, and God rest her soul, she was one of 13. You're from the South. You can appreciate that.
That's how it was.
So to my defense, I always knew what I wanted. I just didn't always go about it in a way that was supposed to be the right way. Because I'm the kid, the black sheep that say,
you was living life. Like you was living life, you're trying to figure it out. We ain't here to judge you about that.
Please don't.
We just want you in this moment right now, foot up and all, non-baker. We would like for you to come through for the black family with that beautiful black woman and them beautiful black kids. We would like for you to step up, you know, and stepping up, we want you to be happy too. You know, men's mental health and happiness is everything. But I'm coming here to you as a black woman. Give it all you got. Give it all you got.
To answer that, I can say I'm trying.
I think that's so weird.
I gotta get back on schedule. Do you think you get the respect you deserve?
I think that's so weird. First of all, they spent most of this interview talking about him. But I also feel like it is so fucking weird for other women to be begging some man to marry a woman when at the end of the day, why the fuck do you want to be married to a man that you have to beg to marry you? I don't want to be married to somebody that I have to do that with. Like I just don't. Oh my God. Hold up, y'all. Hold on. Okay, no, that's not it. I thought I had found it, bitch. It's not that. That wasn't it. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay. I did want to show y'all this because this is what I was saying. Hold up.
Women needing to pick better, choose better is complete bullshit, and this is why.
Handwritten notes on how to breadcrumb women, how to use the penny method on women, essentially how to make women feel this connection with you so that they become attached and then you can treat them like shit. I saw it in his own handwriting. I thought that was insane. I share this story on TikTok.
I literally caught my ex-boyfriend doing the same exact thing. I actually knew early on in the relationship that he was manipulating me because you have to know what your archetype is as a woman, okay?
Okay. That's a whole nother thing. That's sovereign being. Okay. If you look on the screen, you can see it. I follow her. I like her. I'm gonna get back to this interview, but that was a part of it. Like, there's an actual book, y'all. There's a rule book, and I said it's Pimpin' 101, but it's also like reiterated in psychology and other ways. But there are literally bullet points that niggas are taught in order to manipulate women into thinking and emoting in a way that puts them in situations where they're constantly being humiliated by a man that just gets to pretend like he's not ready, while also bullying you into being ready.
Yeah.
For dabbling into country?
No. This is what it is.
Why not?
I felt like when I came out and said I was doing country music, my own culture and
K. Michelle only has her one kid.
community laughed at me. They thought that I was weird and they didn't understand it and I should stay in R&B, and they literally made fun of me.
Not all of us. Some of us thought that you already had that twang in your voice and we could tell that that was something you wanted to do, and we thought that you should do it. And then those of us that actually really like music, we can hear country influences in some of our favorite R&B artists' music. Like, I can hear it in Patti LaBelle's music. Like, the fuck? So what? Y'all gotta stop that. You put too much power in the Black community when you allow them to make you feel bad about how you show up because it's not Black enough. You see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying?
For being who I was.
But why country though?
That's how I grew up.
Mhm.
I didn't get, the first tape I got was a Mary J. Blige. It was the Jillets. I grew up on all country music. I grew up on Leanne Womack. I grew up on Alison Krauss. I grew up on Toby Keith.
Mm.
I didn't grow up just because I,
You look a certain type of
look
way.
like this.
Yeah.
I know people feel away about Robert Kelly and R. Kelly. That was my mentor. And I remember him going to the record label and saying, y'all want a gimmick? Y'all want to sell some records? This ain't y'all Mary J. Blige. She sound like this and she look like this. That is how you sell records. And no one would listen to him or me.
Do you still talk to
Not you finding a way to make an exploiter and a child rapist your savior, and then prefacing it with, I know y'all don't like him, but bitch, we have every reason not to like him. And I hate the fact that you say it in such a manner that, oh, we just don't like him. Like, he wasn't raping women and children. What are we talking about, K. Michelle? Because you ain't never said nothing, but I'm pretty sure you fucked him. I'm pretty sure.
him?
I haven't recently spoke to Rob, but his team has reached out recently. And I would like to get to a point where I can speak to a mentor, because he did. I went from one abuser to another one. Robert Kelly, he saw me being abused by my executive and took me from that. So I went from one abuser.
Romeo. Okay, that's the Romeo game. You got to go and save the bitch.
To another abuser, And when it comes to music, I always did music, but I didn't know how to write a song, this and that. And Robert Kelly really shaped me as a writer and as an artist. But I'm also very much for women. Being a domestic violence.
I'm really starting to feel like him not being able to read and all of that is such bullshit. Like, I'm really starting to feel like that is complete and utter bullshit to infantilize him so he could further continue to get away with the manipulation. Because how the fuck you teaching somebody how to songwrite and you can't read and write? Make it make sense.
Violence survivor and advocate for all women in that. I'm every day constantly torn in between this situation. This is an everyday thing.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's an everyday thing for me. I go through it every day.
Now, to the
Why? Why do you feel torn? Why do you feel torn? Because he did some nice shit for you back in the day. So what? I'm sure he did shit to you. You said he was an abuser. You ain't never said what he did, but I'm sure he did shit to you to show you that beginning part, that nice shit that he was doing was a way to manipulate you into gaining access to you so that he can fuck you and exploit you. Because yeah, you learned a lot, but was he the one that actually helped you in your career for you to get on like that? And it seems like he may have attempted to, but a lot of the times I feel like when women are connected to certain creepy ass men, they may not be able to get the lift off that they need.
Individuals who have dabbled in the genre of country, the list goes on. You've seen collabs with rappers. You've seen, rappers now converted, and we now know them solely on country. One in particular, not a rapper, but just the thoughts of Beyonce entering into the country scene. What's your thought process?
My thought is, I think it was absolutely needed in country. You know, Beyonce sent me flowers and was like, I see what you're doing in country music. That was amazing because, you know, your own people don't give you flowers, and they give you flowers when someone else give you flowers. And I don't live my life for flowers. But, you know, country music to me is a way of life, and it's who I am. And I knew Beyonce was doing a country album before everybody did because I was in Nashville, and I knew that she was working on it. And as I am now, I was so hyped about it because I'm like, oh, now people are going to pay attention. There's a whole group of African-American country singers who have been there. It's about 12 of us who have been in what's quoted as the whitest city in America, Nashville. We have been there fighting. And to see Beyonce come in and do country music, and this is the first time that my people, if we're being honest, that my people and my culture have even gave a fuck enough to even know the background of country music or to even care. So for her to come out and put it in the forefront for people to actually care and start to do research about it, I can't do anything but applaud her for that. I am a Beyonce supporter as a Black woman. In Nashville, people know. You won't say anything about Beyonce around her, but positive, because I'm a fan in that.
I think people know. You would not say anything about Beyonce, not around no niggas. No, not around no distinguished Black people.
Yeah, you will not play those games, but you also, you know, have to understand, even in country and in Nashville,
What was that?
that is a whole nother world. And, you know, like we love Beyonce, they love Dolly. You know what I'm saying? Like Dolly is, and you know, Dolly, that's
she got a cake mix too.
Yeah, that she does have a cake mix,
Come on, man.
biscuit mix
Stop
too.
playing with me.
You know, I was able and blessed to get a record for my album that Dolly wrote. I was just so excited. But Dolly, that's someone that to me is just my everything as far as business, and just even how she fought for Black people, like for taking I Always Love You, taking the music and putting that into the Black community, refusing to not work with Black people and to always fight for Black people. Like Dolly Parton is that girl. And
He really
it's a
is
thing,
just
like,
trying to fit in.
it's a thing. It's really a
sad.
thing in Nashville, and
He wanna be
Nashville's about
cool so
lifestyle.
bad.
But I've also watched Nashville even not accept their own, even not accept white people because they felt like they wasn't country enough. I watched it in both realms, and you know, it's a whole fight in Nashville right now for country radio to even play women, not white or Black. Women do not get played on country radio, and it's a big fight going on right now. You know, in the genre.
Yes,
But
you know
even
why?
talking about just the
You
collaboration.
know why? Because because poor angry white men are the first ones whose minds are like, what is it called? Their minds are usurped. Their angers are misdirected on purpose. And they're so angry and obtuse that they can't see how they're being used for their own demise. You know what I mean? Because like all men are doing this because Black men have now hitched, a lot of Black men, not all, but a lot of Black men have hitched their coats to white men's, right? Meaning that they always gonna show up to defend some white man shit, whether they think that's what they doing or not. The subjugation of women in any respect whatsoever is the reason why the men are also labored and working the way they are, and they don't realize it. They think that them being able to entrap women in marriages and family dynamics to be, you know, used and fed off of is a good enough, right? I'm only going to be here for this one life. Why try to fight and be, you know, liberated? Why try to fight and be free when they're just going to give me somebody for me to subjugate? And that feels better than just being subjugated with the women. Or you could be free with the women, but nobody wants to think that far ahead. But essentially, the men who think that way is so crazy. Like, and it just shows it goes across the board. White country men still not standing up for their own women, if that's how you want to think about it. Because there is no their own. There is no their own. It's the women and it's the men. And then everybody has whatever their internal thing is, meaning that if the women know the shit, they're fighting for themselves and other women like them. If the women don't know, then they're fighting for the men and for their subjugation because they're imprisoned in the mind as well. It's all very sad. It's all very exhausting.
Would you work with Beyonce?
Oh, absolutely. That is Beyonce when it comes down to work ethic and come down to someone who have had, you know what I'm saying, who have had to go through the hell, who don't play about their music. That's all I want to work with. There are people that are huge I still don't have a desire to work with. But when it comes down to work ethic and what it is and really loving their music, that is why I respect her. And not just for clout or hype. That's not about that when it comes to me and my love of Beyonce. It comes to the love of being a Black woman who has to endure and encounter everything and fight for her gift.
Riddle me this. Do girls beef in music the same way guys beef in music?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got some beef?
So right after you try to get her to say something negative about Beyonce, talking about you not gonna say that in front of no niggas, whatever the fuck that was. She says all of these great things about Beyonce and lets you know that it's genuine because she respects how she works and the workmanship and the style. People that actually care about their craft, they respect other people that care about their craft, especially in a land of people that don't give a fuck about their craft, which is the music industry, right? So after she says all of these good things, you then turn the conversation right back around to ask her about women who she has beef with in the industry. And it's just like, okay, stay in line and constantly try to create division and triangulation amongst women with your simple ass. I just can't.
Beefs out there?
A lot.
The toxic me.
I mean, hate the bitch.
Who?
The Muppet.
And she feeds right into it. She feeds right into it, talking about how she hate Tamar. Okay, got it.
Like, I got into this game and I came in on a show called Love and Hip Hop. I talked about my abuse and I didn't say anybody's name. There was this Muppet in the corner yapping. And even till this day, when Beyonce sent me flowers and everything, she subliminally, but not subliminally, talked about me and everything. When I go through bookings and everything, it's always her name. Don't book her for shows. So you're attempting to even stop money for how I take care of my child and everything. All because of what? All because you ain't got no edges. All because of your sister really the star. This is what this is about.
So it sounds like K. Michelle is accusing Tamar of doing the same shit that Tamar accused Candy of doing. Y'all remember when she was up there with Nene talking about how Candy does all of this shit behind the scenes, like insinuating Candy is stopping checks and telling people not to hire her ass, even though Candy has given her many a job. Like, Candy has employed Tamar more than once. And because Tamar is an envious person and refuses to go and heal that which makes her envious, instead, she walks around getting mad at other women whenever she is jealous of them. And then she'll find a reason to cause an issue between the two of them. Because that's what it felt like with Candy. It feels like in your mind, you hate the fact that Candy continues to be somebody who can employ you. And then you think that you sing way better than her. And then my sister is Toni Braxton. You just came from Escape. How you get in a position to be employing me and thinking that you're going to be my boss? Remember? Because like she's done the tour, that nasty tour that they did. She did that. She was a performer on that. She's also been an opening act, but or one of the acts on tours and shows that Escape has done. Tamar is somebody that once she starts to feel belittled simply because another person is doing better, she then acts out. That's what I see. And it is envy, and it's jealousy, and it's immaturity. It's a lack of self-discipline. That's really, and then also how much you get wrapped up in dick. Candy has been able to stay on her square because she don't get wrapped up in dick. You always will start to gain some momentum in your career, and then you go get wrapped up in some dick, and then everything goes downhill. So if you want to be mad at somebody because your shit don't be working out, Tamar, you should, look internally. But we know how a lot of y'all don't like to do that. That's too uncomfortable because y'all don't like yourselves. Okay, let's go.
All because of the man that you love tried to talk to me before you, in the middle of you, and after you. All because I'm from the country, but you are the bumpkin. It is always something with this loudmouth coyote. And
girl, what
I
man?
mind my business. I don't say much. I don't say.
Was it the white man? What man, girl?
Anything, Cam. But as soon as I say something, it is this and that. I'm to the point. I am for women united and all of this.
Cap.
No, I am.
Cap.
I swear for cracks and cheese. I'm for women united.
Look at him automatically wanting to invalidate her having some camaraderie with women. And it is cap on some level because she cares more about what she sees as black family is really the black man. Like, I know a lot of y'all don't get that, but Black family is usually centered around the Black man. It's not centered around children. It's not centered around the mothers. It's centered around the men and what their wants and needs are. And then if you're not doing what the men want you to do, then you're not caring about family. If you're not willing to make all of these internal sacrifices that the men don't have to make, then, you know, you don't, girl. She is not as male-centered as he wants her to be, though. He is absolutely trying to have a moment where he can say, see, look, you don't really care about women. And I think a lot of men, they want women to be like that. They want to be able to say, see, you really don't care about women, because they don't want you to care about women. They want you to only care about them. If you care about women, then you would start to make it harder for them to go around abusing all of the women and just replacing one with a new one. It would be harder to do that if women had a certain level of, you know, hoes before bros, so to speak, for lack of better vernacular at this moment.
But I'm telling you one thing, I'm slap the fuck out of her.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
That's why I say it's cap. You can't say women empowerment and then
Yes, I can.
You can't do that.
That is a Muppet, not a woman.
No, you can't say that.
I can say
you can't
that.
say that. Like, you can't. Okay, if we're talking about accountability,
Don't dehumanize her. See, that's another thing. If you want, girl, you got to mature in the way you read so that you don't back yourself in a corner with the shit that you say. Because as soon as you dehumanize one woman, you dehumanize yourself, especially in front of mixed company. Y'all understand this when y'all know not to talk bad about Black people around white people. I'm going to need for you to learn not to talk bad about women in such a way around a man that is just loving the opportunity to see you hating another woman. Because his overall narrative is to create dissension amongst you bitches so that y'all don't be able to inform each other and care more about how I mistreat y'all than y'all do about me. Like, it's so plain right now, and she need to be better. Because in all honesty, there are ways to say what you got to say about Tamar without dehumanizing her. That's not a woman. That's a Muppet. Girl, what? As if you didn't go and fuck with every portion of your face, body, and everything else. Like, I get it. She do look like a Muppet. But that bitch, girl, that's not your original nose neither.
from top to bottom.
Give it to.
We're talking about accountability from top to bottom.
Okay.
I'm not going to allow you to hold me accountable to certain things.
Accountable. Come on.
That ain't it.
Let me tell you something. If I consistently for years and years have been quiet, it's like poking a bear. You can only kick a dog so much to poke you back. If I'm not saying a word and everything that is good for me, anything good happens to me, you manage to get in the media and be negative when it comes to me. But you're always negative towards women. Guess what? One thing I am, I can play fool. I can play cool, but I can't play fool.
Mm-hmm. But understand this, okay? Everything about what you've been doing on this platform.
I don't like the fact that he feels he has the right to check her about how she's talking about another woman, as if he does not enjoy it. The hypocrisy of liking to abuse women and then turning around and mansplaining and trying to have moral high ground over a woman for her beef with another woman. Like, sir, you're out of your depths.
Has been pushing love and pushing acceptance and pushing accountability.
Yes.
But now you can't say what you said and not expect.
You ain't finna let nobody coming from Atlanta, Georgia. You can sit up here all you want to with your hands crossed and be great. You're not gonna let anybody consistently keep playing with you, even when you've offered your hand in peace and you've offered your hand in love and you're minding your business.
I mean, he was coming at you sideways as soon as the interview started, telling you to stay in your place and all of that shit. So I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
And you're not even coming for them, and they consistently try you at every corner and every turn. You're not going to let that happen.
Okay.
You're just not. You are a man and you're going to stand out. We don't have to resort to violence or any of that. I get that. But if you consistently behind closed doors, like when the world isn't watching, you're still poking at somebody 3 years consistent and they don't say a word.
Okay.
At some point, I have to defend myself. And at some point, I have to show you where the hell I'm from. Memphis, Tennessee. And I have to show you I'm not, it can't continue.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take that as a sign that we need to move on.
Yeah, we're going to take that as a sign. Look, if you buck.
Okay, Lord Jesus.
In Atlanta terms.
Lord Jesus. I'm going to pray.
Talk shit, get hit. That is, we're going to take that in Atlanta.
Lord.
Okay.
Another thing that has been prominent in Atlanta has been body additions.
Yes.
You've been extremely open about multiple procedures and on the journey for removal of the enhancements.
Yeah.
What do you want people to know most about that whole process that you're going on?
What I want people to know most about plastic surgery. One, I'm not against plastic surgery. Do your research, do what you need to do, if that is for you. What I want them to know, no amount of plastic surgery is going to make you love yourself anymore. It's not going to make a man love you more. None of that. What I want them to know is that these people that you see with these, big asses, I had the hugest ass in life. And literally, I could not walk. I could not, but People magazine said I had one of the best bodies, ever. That almost cost me my life. So shit that didn't matter. What I do want women to know is to watch this trend of these big asses go to now everybody want a natural body. Once you put some ass shots into you, you will never be able to get them out of you. That is absolutely permanent. You can take out a breast implant, you can take out things like that. But once you inject silicone shots into your body, that is motor oil that forever live in your body. You can cut it out to an extent as to what you need to be, but it will always be in your body. This is a permanent decision for a temporary fix that is not going to fix you if your soul is not right. I want women to know, do what you want to do to enhance, and men. Enhance, but that isn't going to enhance you getting into heaven, and that's not going to enhance you when you wake up and look in the mirror every day.
Do you look at a man different for male enhancements?
Absolutely. I'm wrong for that.
Okay. Thank you.
It's wrong as hell.
Okay.
But I be like, damn, little BBL, nigga. Like, I don't want to be.
Lil Lipo.
Lil Lipo.
Hey, we'll give somebody a nickname. They go Lil Lipo.
Lil Lipo.
What up, Craig? Lil
I
Lipo.
don't even want to hear his raps after that. I'm like, damn. And that's wrong. I did not say that is right. It is absolutely wrong.
It's a big double
but I can't help what triggers the inside or maybe how it is. I don't want to feel that way, but I feel like once you get lipo, once again, I run the relationship. I run everything. I'm the man. No BBLs. I can't look at you. So you're not a gangster to me after the BBL.
Well, there has been definitely a shift, as you kind of mentioned, right, in body eras, right? I'm an 80s baby, so therefore I went through a situation where it was the titties, it was the breasts, right? The Playboy-esque body, the petite with the bangers.
What I got now.
Yeah. Then you go through an era of butt shots.
Yeah.
Then it was everybody's trying to get the perfect J-Lo body, the perfect Kim K body, the perfect Beyonce body. And not to say that any of them have ever went under the needle, I'm not assuming, but this was the staple of what people's bodies was trying to be.
Yeah.
Now, those eras have now shifted to going back to natural, going back to petite, going back to skinny.
Yeah.
What happened to just the desire of enjoying the journey in the gym?
I'm not going to no damn gym. That shit is tired. That shit is draining. I'd be hungry. I'd be hurting. I'm not going to no damn gym. Everybody want quick results, like microwave generation. Even in January, I had worked out 2 months straight. I was very proud of myself because of the dedication and the discipline. But did I enjoy it? Hell no. I never got to enjoy that.
Anything worth having?
You didn't do it long enough to enjoy it. You didn't do it long enough to enjoy it. And in all honesty, you should take, it shows me that she hasn't really grown when it comes to that, because the way you was willing to die for surgery, and now you just feel like if you do good enough research by a doctor, that mean that's going to always be a saving grace for you. Like you're not going to die on the table or have complications simply because you have done your research on a great doctor. So to me, I feel like if you care enough about your body that you're willing to die about it, you really need to go get your ass in the gym and figure it the fuck out. If not just because it makes you look good, but when you work for that shit, when you labor for it, when you're tired and all of that, it does such good things for your mental and for your body. It gives you a lot of clarity. Once you start, and you need to be doing it for more than 2 months, y'all. 2 months is not enough. I need you to be on a regimen for a year or more for you to really not only see results, but to see the results in why you start to want to do it. Because for me, you start to want to do it not just because it makes you look good and you don't want to gain anything back or get flabby or whatever the fuck. It's also about how it makes me feel. I notice I don't sleep as good when I don't work out. I notice that I can't manage the anxiety in my body as well when I don't work out. Working out, just all in all, has continued to be a space for me that makes me feel better mentally, spiritually, physically, in my body, my breathing, all of that shit. Like it just makes you feel better in your body. Yes, the endorphins, all of those things. 2 months is not enough. And the only reason I say this is because when I first started working out, I did challenges for over a year in order for me to get into the habit. Once I was done doing like challenges back to back to back like I was, it just became a lifestyle for me, to where even if I fall off, like I might skip an entire week because I went out of town or some shit. it is going to be in the back of my mind, bitch. Okay, you was off for a whole week. You need to do something. You need to do something. Then I'll start to feel how my sleep isn't as good. I'll start to feel the restlessness, like, which will make me want to drink more, like that type of shit. So like I start to notice how if I'm not working out, it leads to restlessness in my body that makes me want to do other shit that is not as good for me. You know what I mean? So yes, you have to get into the habit of working out. You don't always need to be doing like so much. That's why I've been really enjoying the recent challenge that I'm doing with Kiara LaShae, which is 21 minutes in 21 days, because I like the fact that it's over after 21 minutes. And it's still hard work. And sometimes when I'm at the gym, I work out for way longer than that. And it's like I go into another space at the gym. I got my headphones on. I'm listening to music. I know I'm doing 10 of this shit. I'm going to sit and take however long break I need to take. And I'm going to move on to the next thing. All right, I did about 3-4 machines. Now I can go get on a treadmill. And I need to do at least 10 to 15 minutes of walking on the incline. Or I need to go and jump rope for at least 10 minutes. And, you know, time myself and jump for a minute straight, 30 seconds off, try to do a minute 30 straight, 30 seconds, like that type of shit. Like I'm always in a headspace of, okay, if you took a break because you was tired or you needed rest or whatever, now you have to get back into it. Child, I'm seeing these 2 Black women that didn't pass my block at least. It's the 3rd time they didn't pass. They out there walking. It's hot as fuck out there. Okay. You got to get it in how you get it in. Okay. So K Michelle is obviously like still has not learned.
Having is worth fighting for.
Anything worth having, I get it. It sounds cute and all, but that hurts. It hurts, and I don't enjoy it. No matter what type of music I put on, whatever, I'd be struggling.
You're supposed to struggle.
Yeah, I would much rather struggle in other things than purposely putting myself up to struggle. No. Life is going to bring a struggle. Why would I want to dedicate a struggle at 8 o'clock in the morning at the gym? Life already gave us.
It don't have to be 8 o'clock in the morning. It don't have to be 8 o'clock in the morning. For me, sometimes it's after my videos. After I done got my initial shit off, because a lot of the times when I wake up in the morning and I get on my phone to see what's going on, I automatically feel like it's time to make content. That's what my body wants to do. My body wants to come up here and talk. After I finish talking and I didn't tire myself out with that, now I can go do the physical shit. Once I done did the physical shit, now I can go sit the fuck down and relax. And I feel good about the fact that not only did I do my job, and I'm really fulfilled by that, by doing this. Like, especially recently, it feels so good to do this now. And it always has. But I'm very, very like in it in a way that feels so fulfilling to me. Because I feel like every day that I get up here, if just one person is freed in some type of way from what I did, I feel exhilarated by it. And then I go and work out and feel good about my body. And now I get to just sit here and do whatever. I play The Sims, or I might go out, or I might just, you know, watch a movie or chill, or now I got to go do housework and all of that type of shit. You know what I mean? But it gives me a lot of peace. It gives me a lot of peace. And that's what it's about. But it don't have to, like, sometimes we feel like we have to be doing shit like everybody else instead of figuring out what works for us personally. And as long as you are following I need to be physical, I need to make sure I'm doing at least 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. And I would say 3 times minimum. And that's only if you're just starting. Because sometimes I'll only do 2 days, but there's going to be a week when I'm going to get back into it and I'm going to be doing at least 4 or 5 days a week. You know what I mean? I have to just stay on it and give it what I have when I have it, but never fall off. Never fall off.
Struggle.
You want to know what would help that?
What?
A young man. Young man, get on your campaign and be like,
that's why I don't date young men.
No. I mean,
I don't date them.
Come on.
They keep trying. It's like I be like
my sister does Pilates and it does amazing for her.
I can start a whole team for my DM. The amount of young men. I'm not doing it. You're not going to drive me around the world.
You're not getting what I'm saying. What I'm saying in essence, if you had a partner that is in agreement to saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Let's go about it this way. And accepting all flaws and all to say, baby, what we doing?
What we doing? We gonna go bake this pound cake.
Mm-hmm. That's
cheap. Eat biscuits.
I love that.
I want to be healthy, and you know what? I need to do that. I get what you're saying.
That's it.
I get what you're saying.
Because when you see certain situations, and God rest her soul, but I even had him on this platform, Funky Friday.
Who?
DC Young Fly.
Yes.
And he talked about just tapping in with your person.
Mm-hmm.
And the desire on the surface will never penetrate deep to the soul.
So when DC Young Fly, and I haven't watched that one, but that's because he worked on my nerves a little bit. But it's something about DC Young Fly and his need to grift into religion that has always made my ass itch as a problematic, mean young black man. Reaching for religion is always a red flag for me as a sign that you are a craftsman at manipulation. From being a fool and making people laugh to being mean and making women want to chase you and all of that shit to church. You're just a grifting manipulator is how I see DC Young Fly sometimes. Okay. That's not to say that he's not a good dude to whoever he's a good dude to. But I remember feeling when we all were talking about it when his baby mama died, the way he picked her body apart, the way he talked about her breasts, the way he made her self-conscious about her body. And that's not to say that she wouldn't have been self-conscious anyway, but as somebody who loves her, your inability to derail her insecurities for her by kind of feeding into them was a part of the reason why she felt like she needed to go get on the table less than 18 months after she had a baby, which they tell you not to do. But she wanted to have another mommy makeover after having another fucking baby. And I question if she actually wanted to have the baby, because you know how niggas love to put babies in bitches so that they can go sit the fuck down and not be, making them feel insecure about working or having a beautiful woman that's not carrying a baby in her womb. Okay. So I think he's doing a lot of work now to kind of deal with that, because I think that did have its effects. Us having that conversation had its effects on him. And so I haven't paid attention, so I don't know. But it sounds like him talking about that may have been one or two things. Either you are trying to heal from the realization that you played a part and why she felt that way, or number two, you're using it as a grift in order to get sympathy from people and to absolve yourself of the guilt that you feel and the shame that you feel from other people about how you were documented talking about that lady's breast before she went and talking about her body and making fun of it, calling her nipples pizza pepperoni slices or some stupid shit. Like, yeah. Like you added to her feeling like she needed to go change something about herself. And it was really out of his need to make her feel small because she was out of his league. And you can't tell me no fucking different. And I'm talking about physically out of his league. Men like him, no matter how much money they go and get, no matter how much prestige and fame they go and get, there's a part of them that feels like she wouldn't want me if I didn't have this money. And I would want her to want me even without this money. But I know that I'm not the most attractive man. I look like a fucking cricket. And then I'm goofy, so I'm always making these stupid, ugly faces. Ain't nothing really suave about a nigga until he get into his church bag. Okay? But when you know this about yourself as a man and you've internalized racism and colorism and all of those things, they get with those, racially ambiguous light-skinned women to make themselves feel better and to get validation from other men. But they hate those women because those women are reminders of how they feel bad about themselves. So him picking at her was a reflection of how he felt about himself. And because she's in the relationship like most women are, all open pussied and open hearted and shit, instead of her seeing that him ribbing her was an extension of his own insecurities, she internalizes it. And it adds to insecurities that she's already been given from being the pretty girl. Because, I'm sorry, I feel like I don't know if I'm perceived as pretty the way I feel I'm pretty, but I feel like I know what it's like to be pretty enough that people are always wanting to humble you every time you walk into a room before you say anything out your fucking mouth. They want you to realize that they don't think you all that the way you think you all that. All that shit.
If that's not right. Were you aware of it? How do you feel about it? And just, I'm big on just the education of, you got different type of surgeries, from the mommy makeovers to just liposuction, BBL, shots, whatever it may be. And I don't judge Nathaniel. All I'm saying is, from a person who has been open about it, how do you give people or bring awareness to that?
I just tell the truth. Like, I've always talked about my surgeries, and I was open. Like, I remember going through this and was like, I could portray everything good. Just like I tell people my great, I tell them my lows. I never play in it. And some people might feel like you don't owe the world that, but I do feel like if someone puts you on a pedestal and puts you in the public, there's so many people that can sing better than me, do this and that. They never get this opportunity. I'm supposed to say something. And if I'm going to tell you the bad, I'm going to tell you the great, I'm going to tell you the bad too. I've never played with that. I've always been very honest in those surgeries. And that's when it went bad for me. I said, don't do this. I immediately got on. I remember getting on my live. I remember even going through surgeries and people made these memes and saying my butt was falling off. They really bullied me about telling the truth, which other celebrities weren't doing, and being honest about it. And I still took it on the chin and I kept it. I kept it, and I'm happy I did. It does bother me when I go into Walmart and different places that everybody want to talk to me about a man that did them bad or about they butt or about surgery. I'm like, wow. But that is the face that I took on, and that's the platform that I took on to talk to women about body image and things. When my body right now isn't perfect, I still got 2 more surgeries, even in reconstruction, and I've had to love myself, even in it not being a perfect body.
I'm gonna challenge that young man that you are with, and
but don't want to work out.
do your job, bro.
He is, he is an athlete, and he's very in shape. And I do fight with him about going to the gym and stuff. Like, I gotta sing, I gotta go do this today. But it is a gentle type of love going on, because I don't think people even understand. With reconstruction of your body, you still have to show your body. And it affects sex, and it affects everything. It affects you accepting things from men, because you might not want to show your scars and what you've gone through. And I've literally had to pull, without my surgeries being complete, I've literally had to pull and liking myself, actually, and saying I deserve top notch, regardless if one ass cheek is a little bigger than another one. I deserve that. I'm a great woman.
Yes.
And as harmful as it was to me, it really has been a different type of.
That's another thing, y'all. I have to do that too. We all have to do that. If there are things that make you feel insecure about yourself, even if you're in the process of changing it, every time that you have the negative feeling about it, you need to have the counter feeling that, and I'm still beautiful and I'm still bad. Like, you have to have that mentality about yourself, even when you feel bad about something. Like, if I don't feel that good about my body because I feel like I might be bloating, or I look bigger than I really am, especially because my titties are big and all of this shit, then I have to tell myself, and you still bad, bitch. And you still get to walk around with the same high giraffe coochie standards that you have. I don't give a fuck what nobody talking about, because who you are is also internal. And because of that, you do deserve everything that you want and more, because who you are is not just your physical, it's internal. And so there's nothing about me on the outside that I'm going to allow y'all to break down enough about me that I'm not going to love myself. But that takes a lot of work. And I'm saying that because it takes a lot of work, y'all. It takes a lot of work. You always have to be counteracting that negative thought about yourself. Even when you're working on it, even when you working out at the gym all the time and it may not look the way you want it to look, please always remind yourself, and I'm still beautiful, and I'm still bad, and I still deserve the world. Keep that mentality for yourself. Eventually, y'all, your brain will start to believe it. Your body will start to believe it. But it's an everyday struggle. Yes, still worthy.
Something I had to pull.
How new is this?
This has been going on now for about 5 years.
Ooh.
Yeah. About 5 years.
No.
What?
Not the surgeries.
Oh.
The relationship.
Oh, no, this is new. This is about 8 months. This is new.
This is new, boo?
This is new.
Get you new, boo.
This is a new boo. Yeah. Well, I haven't even really let anybody in, even because of surgeries, even because of, I didn't want them, because it has that silicone and stuff in your body does make you unhealthy and things like that. You don't even want to put that on somebody. Then I have a bunch of 20-year-old athletes running the world trying to date me. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not going from game to game. My body can't take it. I don't want to do it. So even just that.
But can you blame them though?
I just think they want mamas. I am very that. I am very the woman of cooking, and after you
I don't think it's a young or old
grown,
I don't think that's a vet move. I don't think that's a
vet move.
Yeah, a hot warm towel. Like,
it's a long move.
Bet. I
think the young guys want that, and
not young guys. Guys in general want a nurturer.
Okay.
A nurture. That's
yeah. I'm a nurturer. I'm really.
Let me tell you something. I do not get the hot towel treatment the way I used to when I was younger, and that's just because our asses is old now, so everybody just passes out. But I'm gonna tell you something, bitch. If you are the person that is getting penetrated, you are the one that needs to be lying there while the dick goes and walks to the bathroom and gets a hot towel to wipe you with. Because essentially, if you're not wearing a condom, the cum is in your body. It's going to be coming out of you for the rest of the evening. It's going to be in a puddle in your underwear after they finish plowing inside of you and having Mr. Nasty time in your body. Okay? And so if anybody is going to be getting a warm, hot towel, it needs to be the nigga. Listen to me. Okay. Now, if you want to be nice every now and again and he ain't do too much damage and your legs still work appropriately, they not all like, shaky and jello-y and shit, then go ahead. All right. But based on who's getting pumped, I feel like my legs be a little like off kilter. Why am I walking anywhere except for the bathroom to pee? Stop letting these niggas play with y'all. Make y'all think that you need to always, even after you finish fucking, I gotta be in some type of servitude role to you, as if I'm not the one that's gonna have the cum dripping down my leg when I get up. The fuck is we talking about?
Mama bear.
No.
I'm always like that.
Man, listen, I have to
I'm
go into
sorry,
this topic of
that's graphic.
the entrepreneur.
I need to be
Okay.
You
honest.
know, you have a Jack Daniels collaboration, you have a restaurant, you have moonshine on the horizon. You got things, business is booming.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Talk to us about, you know, those different things and endeavors that you have and what to expect.
Business is booming, just like business is a boom. I have had over 3 restaurants. The one I'm in right now, if people like to invest, the one that I'm in right now is kicking my ass.
Name?
I took on, it's Puffin Petals. I started it, make these restaurants, and then I sell them, and I've done very well. The one right now was one of the biggest clubs in Atlanta that I've taken over. I thought it was like Ghost and Power, and it's kicking my ass. And just the decisions as an adult woman, and even in business, do I move forward in this? I'm already $300,000 over budget. Do I do this and that? That is what I deal with every day. I love creating a space for people to come together and to do what they need to do. I'm always packed out. I've never taken a restaurant L. This might be my first one. I accept it. I deal with it. As far as Jack Daniels, I am the first African-American ever endorsed by Jack Daniels. I created a drink with them. They did not slap my name on it. I went into Kentucky several times over and over again to create a drink with another Black woman who creates all the drinks, which people don't know, for Jack Daniels. Jarita. I created a drink called Southern Peach. It soon went on to be the #1 selling RTD, ready to drink in Jack Daniels, even beat Jack and Coke. I got paid for every case sold of Jack Daniels when it came to Southern Peach. Currently, I am been doing for 2 years. This is not a thing of slapping your name on a brand as a person. I just left the distillery Saturday. That is the type of stuff I do, from making and distilling to probably shouldn't be trying to make moonshine myself, to doing that type of thing, to now I feel like I have created the best.
I love that she takes a very organic role in whatever she does, because I think it has even more value in it when she takes it on that way. I love that she does that. I love that for her.
Best recipe ever for this moonshine that is about to come out, all the way down to the bottle design. That's just what I do. So that, and just trying to manage a new business that I've created. My family calls me Puddin'. In the country, they call me Puddin', to launching Puddin' Farms right now. And that is liquor, food, and even cakes that are better than yours. That's what is going on right now with me.
Being a baker, you understand that even pudding from scratch, I don't put no premix or no jello in my pudding.
Oh.
I whisk it in a pot.
Oh.
Make it paste.
We know. We all
Come on,
still
I'm really
people.
Oh, come on.
We got to do this bake-off. I have to try these cakes, okay?
Date, time,
Whenever you're ready.
and I'll be fine.
Whenever you're ready. Just be prepared. This ain't football, baby.
But it's a competitive
Yes,
situation.
but it's years and years. This is grandmama on me.
Lord Jesus, here we go. Grandmama.
Okay.
I love this energy that we got going on. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Now let's get into
I think it's amazing how somebody who's so stupid can like have 1.67 million followers for doing podcasts and having deep conversations when they're as vapid as a kiddie pool. It's wild.
our question of the day.
Okay.
Now the question of the day is typically asked to provoke thought.
Okay.
And it cannot be no one-word answer.
All right.
You ready?
All right.
If a girl dated the homie, should she be taken seriously from another person who knew the homie?
Absolutely. We all go through things. We all date certain people to find out what we like. Sometimes you make a mistake and you get it right on the second or third or even fifth chance. Just because you knew the person that I'm supposed to be with the rest of my life, I'm supposed to not be with him for the rest of my life.
Hear me out. And I'm fine with that. But understand this. So you're saying if you were with John Doe,
Okay.
right? I'm not going to give it a tenure or whatever.
Okay.
Now,
Wait, go back. What's the question?
no jello in my pudding.
Oh.
I whisk it in the pot.
Oh.
Make it paste.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I'm really.
All right, nigga. All that.
We got to do this bake off. I have to try these cakes. Okay.
Date, time,
Whenever you're ready.
and I'll be fine.
Whenever you're ready. Just be prepared. This ain't football, baby.
But it's a competitive
Yes,
situation.
but it's years and years. This is grandma mama.
Right,
Lord Jesus, here we go.
Come on.
Grandmama.
Okay.
I love this energy that we got going on. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Now let's get into our question of the day.
Okay.
Now the question of the day is typically asked to provoke thought.
Okay.
And it cannot be no one-word answer.
All right.
You ready?
All right.
If a girl dated the homie, should she be taken seriously from another person who knew the homie?
Absolutely.
I really need for everybody to unpack this at some point. Like, to me, at this point, these conversations are starting to become like, you know how ridiculous you sound acting like a woman is some used object that y'all niggas don't actively pass around. So why are you using it to make women feel less than? Like, a man shouldn't want a woman if she dated one of his friends. There is a messy way that happens, but it also a lot of the times happens because we live in proximity to each other. Like, we live in proximity to each other, you guys. And if you and your friend are the same or similar men, then you might attract the same women and vice versa, because there is something about you that is similar. And whatever that is, that woman is probably attracted to that. I think it's so weird the way y'all have now decided to turn this into a body count, she's dirty, ew type of thing. It's immature and it's regressive and it's fucking stupid. And also it's hypocritical as fuck.
We all go through things. We all date certain people to find out what we like. Sometimes you make a mistake and you get it right on the second or third or even fifth chance. Just because you knew the person that I'm supposed to be with the rest of my life, I'm supposed to not be with him for the rest of my life.
Hear me out, and I'm fine with that. But understand this. So you're saying if you were with John Doe,
Okay.
right?
She's already
I'm not gonna give it a
she's already answered this question. He's now going to ask it in another way, as if that is going to get him a different answer. Okay.
tenure or whatever.
Okay.
Now I meet you as Bob Doe. I know John.
Mhm.
Is Bob supposed to? Can me and you date seriously if you and John had a relationship?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Especially when you get to a certain age and when you get to a certain place. Like, all of that high school shit is out the window. Love is hard to find. You might have dated someone and that's not your mate, and your soulmate might be in your face. And I'm not going to not date that person because I made a mistake.
Okay, now let's flip it real quick.
Okay.
And it's not even about making a mistake. You don't even have to characterize it as making a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's the journey. The journey is I dated him. That didn't work out. And then I met you and I liked you. You liked me. And then we find out that I used to date him and you were friends with him. So fucking what? So what?
If I was with one of your friends as a man, now I come around to date you. Man, you know, I really wanted to be with you, Kay.
I'm going to tell you right now, the only reason I would say absolutely not is because usually y'all have mistreated the fuck out of the friend. Y'all have dogged the woman out. And why would a woman want to be with a man who has already dogged her friend out? But a lot of women don't have that type of camaraderie amongst themselves.
I ain't worrying about Sandra or Quisha now. I wanted you from the jump. She was just a casualty.
Okay,
A moment in time.
Mhm.
Can this really be a real thing?
Whew. Women are different.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to be honest. We said we were going to do real talk today.
But there's so many.
Look, I don't have.
No, this is exactly what he was trying to do. He's trying to back you into a moment of making you out to be a hypocrite because he's one. And because he's always looking to equal the playing field, you're just as bad as me. Even though one of us is being honest and upfront and the other one is being willfully obtuse and weaponizing incompetence.
A ton of like
There's double
female friends.
standards.
Like, me and one of my friends right now in LA, there was an athlete, and she was like, you know, I dated him. It's going to be crazy for you. Me and her have that type of relationship, and that's like the best relationship. She was like, oh, you tried out. She's married now, so that doesn't happen. But I remember her specifically saying, I dated him, girl. He crazy. Go for it, but she ain't gonna like him. I have
Them all the negative things though.
But I had that type of relationship with her. She still was like, when I was all into him, she was like, okay, go. There was no hate there.
Did he ever be in an environment?
What's happening? What's happening? Hold up, y'all. I don't know what's happening. It's not my Wi-Fi.
We all date certain people to find out what we like. Sometimes you make a mistake and you get it right on the second or third or even fifth chance. Just because you knew the person that I'm supposed to be with the rest of my life, I'm supposed to not be with him for the rest of my life.
Hear me out.
And what is this for the rest of my life shit? Even if I want to be with the nigga for 10 days, I don't have, girl, stop putting all of this other shit on it so that you could virtue signal about it.
I'm fine with that. But understand this. So you're saying if you were with John Doe,
Okay.
right? I'm not gonna give it a tenure or whatever.
Okay.
Now I meet you as Bob Doe. I know John.
Mhm.
Is Bob supposed to?
No, because I know she was so awful. I didn't care. And she didn't care. My friend didn't care.
Was he off her?
Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't serious to him in the first place.
This conversation can go on and on and on. On and on and on.
No, like, you just don't want to accept the fact that it's different for a reason because you're just trying to win the conversation. What she's saying is, my friend told me about him. I still went and dated him. Like, she wasn't worrying about him. He wasn't worrying about her. But in your mind, your issue is you feel like, okay, so that means y'all can always fuck. Oh, because y'all had a relationship prior, that means y'all might have a relationship now just because I'm in a picture, which doesn't make any sense when you really think about it. If I don't want to fuck with somebody, I'm not going to fuck with them just because I found out that they're your friend. In all honesty, that would make me not want to fuck with you if I really don't like this nigga and feel like if you hanging around this nigga and he your friend, then I really shouldn't even be fucking with you.
Yeah, I don't really do that. I don't really get into that. Like, it is what it is. Like, I've never, women are emotional beings anyway. I've never had to deal and, hey, because I would just tell you, did you date him? What do you think about that? I would ask my friends. My friends are tough. Like, I always say this, you can't be my friend if you're really like sensitive and weak. I have to have people like me.
But is there a timetable that gives clearance?
Yeah.
How many months?
I think about 2 years.
How many years?
I think 7 years. I would say at least like 2 years.
So 2 years you get a clearance to date free.
Yeah, especially you got some bad, like I got some beautiful friends. And, the type of man that I date is the type of man they date. And it's just, it's like, girl, you dated so ain't nobody left for us. What the hell? Like between you and you, what do we have left to date? And, there's only a certain percentage and caliber of men in that percentage. You don't get a lot of those. So I think that should be even understanding with women who date certain men. Oh, you like, look.
Yeah, he liked that. He liked that because that promotes the idea that men with money should continue to be able to cycle through women, because what are your other options? Even with you having your own money, you got your own money and everything, and you still gonna end up in a relationship with a nigga that feels like him having money is the reason why he should be able to cycle through all of y'all in this abusive, exploitive way. That's not honest. And that's really cruel, because a lot of niggas act like that's not a part of it, but a part of it is you treating a woman like shit in the process of all of this.
Look at your face. You ready to say something to me?
No.
That's the truth. There's only a certain percentage of this type of man, and we know that, and we're that type of woman if that's what we choose to date. Like, you done dated. Between you done dated all of them. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Okay, Michelle, can I really tell you something
You
else?
tell me everything.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
I enjoyed you.
I appreciate it.
I'm so glad this is over. Let's go ahead and move on. Oh, girl. I hope we gained a lot from that, though, didn't we? I feel like we had a good conversation from that. I hope it gave y'all something. Hold up. Okay. All right, let's get into this conversation right here. Okay.
Want to like play a role in my life, I feel like that's
Loving and being loved. What is an all-American fuckboy?
it's a wonderful question. I think because of how society is and like how the patriarchy is, a lot of men are like allowed and like rewarded for being I have another word for it. I probably shouldn't say it on here.
Say it, whisper at least.
We say fuck nigga. But
He basically just said men are rewarded for being fuck niggas. I think we can all agree to that.
but pretty much, yeah, a person who just like has no regard for like I guess like women's like emotions and kind of just juggles women and kind of has these habits of ghosting or like gaslighting or anything to their benefit, to their sexual benefit and pleasure. And yeah, just no regard for anyone else, I would say. Sometimes sex is more game. And then like you just get into this whole like cycle of like, damn, I just really want to, have sex with this person. And then you do all the things you like, love bomb and
Yes.
all the stuff, And like to the counterpart, they're like, oh, like he must really like me. So they're being fooled. And then once that once you have that moment, you have sex, then like that man comes back into like reality and doesn't have the same feelings, doesn't have the same pursuit, and that all like dissipates.
Yes.
And then the other person's left like wondering why they're not like texting back or why they're not calling, or all that attention that they gave those weeks or months before, what happened to it,
Mm-hmm. It went somewhere else.
It went somewhere else. After the really trying to find nice words here. After
And then imagine dealing with that when it comes to women, how confusing that can be. It's jarring how often I've also had this experience with women of love bombing, and then after a while being totally different and not explaining why.
that person, after the orgasm. It's a better way of putting it.
Are you reclaiming the word? Are you separating yourself from it? Are you owning it? Like, what relationship do you have to being an all-American fuckboy?
I think acknowledging that I've been that person. I'm acknowledging the level of hedonism that I allow for myself for a long time, even to now. Like I'm quite the lustful human being. I'm very like, I would say I'm quite sensual in general, but I still in my brain the amount of like sexual hunger and sexual drive is like very strong. And maybe because I don't have a particular partner, it can just be like everywhere, But I think had to come to terms with that. I was a person who was like handling myself in that way of so hard to admit, literally. Yeah, damn, this is so crazy. Sex was sport. Sex was sport, and damn, it's really wild to confess it. I'm being public with it.
Yes.
So that a conversation can start between men, you know, because we also as men be like, yeah, bro, you know, saying I got this one, I got that one, woo. And I think there's greater things in life than that to achieve.
What is a father wound?
It kind of worked in two ways. I didn't trust men, which is why I only have like 3 male friendships right now. Yeah. So I didn't trust.
Duckwrth is an artist. I have not listened to his music, but a clip from their episode made me want to talk because I love the fact that he was being honest. But he has an album called something about a fuckboy. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to go listen to his music. But his name is Duckwrth.
Us men, but I also wanted men to be around. I wanted older men to be around. You know, I was in Boy Scouts for like 10 years, and that really helped out. That kind of filled that, or mended that wound a bit. But before that, because I was in church, I would always be like looking at the older men and being like, damn, I just want some male figure to step up and want to like play a role in my life, you know? I feel like, especially as Black men, a lot of our idols was like rappers, basketball players, stuff like that. People who were like seen in public eye, and like those type of archetypes or characters, especially like rappers, they were like more equivalent to like pimps, players, gangsters, hustlers, all that stuff. And like they all.
I experienced this. AJ Max said, what's so crazy is that there are women that want to engage in casual sex, but men rarely pursue those women honestly. So I tell this story all the time because it's the thing that taught me that niggas don't care about. Like, there's nothing you can do. You might as well just do what you want to do. I was dating this guy that I had grown up with, and we had sex. Like, and it's also the time that I learned never to suck dick first. Never suck dick first. Anyway, but we had sex. It was okay. But I liked him a lot. The way he was like, and we grew up together. So the way he was love bombing me initially, and then we had sex, and then it just kind of all started being weird. He had a girlfriend / I think that's the woman who would become his baby mama. That was his girl. That was his main girl. He never talked to me about her. And if he did, he didn't talk about it honestly. So at first I thought we were like really gonna, date. And then I started to I wanted to be single, right? Because I had just left a serious relationship. So I didn't want to go and enter another relationship, but I enjoyed spending time with him and dating. And one day we go on a date and I wanted to have sex. I was horny. I wanted to have sex. And so he is like, oh, can you drop me off by my partner's house? And I was like, we just went to the movies. Like, we're going to get ice cream. Why wouldn't we go back to my place, smoke, and smash? Like, that's what I'm thinking is about to happen here. Like, that's the whole point of this date, child. Like, I've been dealing with you all of this because I wanted to fuck. Like, what's going on? And so he then is trying to play me out. And he calls his friend on the phone and like, hey, bro, can you meet me? Da, 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 da. Like, doing this in front of me. Like, he didn't care that, trying to let me know that we weren't about to finish this date the way I thought we were. So I picked up the phone and called my old faithful, who I know if I call, he's going to come. So I called that nigga in front of his face. Then all of a sudden I became a hoe and all of this and this and that. But when I was being upfront with son and saying we could just, date, it don't have to be serious, he starts pulling back because that's not what he wanted. He wanted to be able to manipulate me into sex. And once it was like, oh, she enjoying it, she down for it too. I don't, she really not asking that much of me. It was like, oh, well, that's not fun. So now I'm going to start pulling away and acting weird. And then I became, I just thought that was like some, a little bit of some hoe shit. But then you still came back around and tried to holler at me once you saw that I had gotten into a relationship. Because somebody recognized that I wasn't a hoe, but I also wasn't going to be played with. and that I actually understood what it meant to be single. Like, I knew what it meant to be single unless I really wanted to be with somebody, and then we can be in a monogamous relationship. And now that I'm older, I should have waited longer to do that shit too. But it's crazy to me that they really only want to fuck with you when they're manipulating you. Because as soon as you down for whatever, then all of a sudden that chase is gone and it's not as fun. Well, you should ask yourself why you want to have sex. I want to have sex because sex feels good, and it's an exchange of energy, and it's a connective moment between two human beings that like each other. You want to have sex so that you can dominate me. You're a weirdo. Because that's the only thing. Like, you want to have sex because you want to dominate me mentally, emotionally, and physically. And it makes you feel like you're just as good or better than me because you fucked me. When we all know that you're not as smart as me, you're probably not as intelligent, you're probably not as disciplined as me, but you need to feel like you're better than me. And the only way you can feel like that is by fucking me, right? And making me suck your dick and not eating me out after, which I was so not used to. Yeah. The things I had to learn when I was like 19, 20.
Always had an array of women around. So it's like we wanted to achieve the goal of being the players and everything. And I don't know, I think that set us back a lot. Like, I wish that there was, I don't know, a rocket scientist. Like, I wish Neil deGrasse Tyson was like around when I was much younger. So I could be like, oh, there's different archetypes of Black men that I can like look up to and like have goals, set goals to be that.
There were. But your immediate community, the Black community, eventually started teaching y'all that to be smart and educated was to be lame. Rap music, a lot of other shit helped y'all get there.
That type of person, you know? But for some reason, it's always like, especially in the hood, I'm from South Central. So especially in the hood, it was like either like the gang members or the rappers or the drug dealers or anybody in that area, you know? I think for me, that's the all-American portion of it, because America, like we discussed before, is like the mecca of entertainment, the mecca of like hip hop and rap. And in hip hop and rap, that's a very like reoccurring trope, is the pimps and players. So yeah.
I remember that I read this book that's called The Art of Seduction. It's a Robert Greene book.
Even before she gets to this, because I actually want to write that book down as something to add to my list. But even before we get to that, y'all, even the Black men that we really like are perpetuating pimp shit. Like, for instance, Grassroots, real life, favorite rapper, Big Crit, right? Now, once you get outside of Big Crit, then we can start dealing with like, you know, Jay-Z and Biggie and Andre 3000 and Black Thought. You know, we can go into that sector of my, you know, how I like rap, right? But like, essentially, Big Crit is the one that I feel closest to me, being from Mississippi, being around the same age as me, coming from the same South that I come from in a certain manner, to the way, you know, I click with his sound. I'm on his frequency. So the type of music he makes jives with me as a hip hop fan and as a Southern woman. I also recognize that he makes music that comes from a real place inside of himself, which makes him appear safer to me than the average nigga. But even within the confines of his music is an appreciation for pimp culture. I myself, as a woman, have an appreciation for pimp culture. And it's not about the degradation of women. It's about the style and the smoothness and the suaveness, and actually putting forth effort to like mentally and emotionally give women an experience. But the experience is always to lead them down a path of self-destruction and exploitation. But essentially, if you're going to be exploited by these niggas either way, it's funner to be exploited by somebody that has learned the gift of macking, right? The ability to shower women with a certain level of affection, but it's not real for men. It's not real, like in how they feel. It's all about a manipulation. It's not really, the words are not really connecting to something inside of themselves that means it's true for them. It's a manipulation. But there is an appreciation for it. I also have an appreciation for riding low and old school vehicles. Okay? 72 deuces and quarters and shit. Cadillacs. Any car made prior to 1988. Like, I fuck with it. But I also recognize how it degrades women and femininity, and it has instilled in me a respect for that same type of malice towards women.
And there is a type of seducer called the ardent rake, which is a fuckboy. But it gave a exact formula for like what to do, how to behave that way, and why it works. And at the time that I read it, I had just come out of a really toxic relationship with, he's Canadian. He's an all Canadian fuckboy. It's an international phenomenon. And I remember, because I was listening to it on an audiobook, I literally had to pull over the car and I was screaming. It felt like,
go back. What's the name of the book?
Seduction. It's a Robert Greene book. And
The Art of
Tyson
Seduction.
was
Robert
like
Greene.
around when I was much younger. So I could be like, oh, there's different archetypes of Black men that I can like look up to and like have goals, set goals to be that type of person, you know? But for some reason, it's always like, especially in the hood, I'm from South Central. So especially in the hood, it was like either like the gang members or the rappers or the drug dealers or anybody in that area, you know? I think for me, that's the all-American portion of it, because America, like we discussed before, is like the mecca of entertainment, the mecca of like hip hop and rap. And in hip hop and rap, that's a very like reoccurring trope is the pimps and players. So yeah.
I remember that I read this book that's called The Art of Seduction. It's a Robert Greene book. And there is a type of seducer called the ardent rake, which is a fuckboy. But it gave a exact formula for like what to do, how to behave that way, and why it works. And at the time that I read it, I had just come out of a really toxic relationship with, he's Canadian. He's an all Canadian fuckboy. It's an international phenomenon. And I remember, because I was listening to it on an audiobook, I literally had to pull over the car and I was screaming. It felt like I was in his room and I looked under his bed and I discovered like a potion that was being given to me. And I was like, how did he learn this? So now I get to ask a real fuckboy in real life, how do you learn?
Recovering.
The
core element of being a fuckboy is manipulation.
There's something called, did you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? He had this thing called Dennis theory, which was, let me see if I can pull it all out. Demonstrate value, which means you show the person why you're valuable. We talk about art, you talk about science, you open their mind. Mario talked a lot about opening people up spiritually, like showing them.
Y'all, this is what I wanted to talk to y'all about. The dentist system. I am literally saving this so I can pull this shit up later for y'all. Okay, I'm saving it right now.
A new side to like looking at the world. It's like, that's the killer. Like if I can open you up spiritually, I know I'm good. So demonstrate value, engage faith.
Okay, spiritually. So remember when we talked about the way Jane Doe said that Diddy would send her Bible verses, send her scriptures, talk about spirituality. That's how you get somebody in the spiritual space. Oh my God. That's why we keep talking about players, pimps, preachers.
Physically, nurture dependence, neglect. What was I? I can't remember what I was. And then S was separate. Can you pull it up for me? Yeah. What was I?
Inspire hope.
Inspire hope. So demonstrate value, engage physically, nurture dependence, neglect, inspire hope, and separate.
That's pretty spot on. That's pretty damn spot on. Wow.
That is literally what happened to me with the last woman that I dated. That bitch did the exact shit in less than a month. And I still miss her today. Would I ever talk to her or unblock her? Absolutely not. It's called growth. So sad. Oh, well.
Inspire hope is maniacal. That's insane. But yeah. Yeah, the dentist theory is, Yeah, that's damn near. Yeah, that's the whole fuckboy Bible right there for you.
And it works.
Yeah, and it works. And it works.
What's the downside of it? Because if you use it, it works getting you attention.
Yeah.
If you admit to using it, you actually get more attention. You get more of that thing.
Yeah.
But it's still not something that you want to use anymore, that you recommend other men to use. Why?
I feel like when I was younger,
It can't
I
help
didn't get
it.
enough. Well, one, my dad left when I was like 8. My mom and dad got divorced. So it was primarily the women in my life, in my family, in my life that raised me. Like my mom, my sister, my aunties and everything. But like in my house, it was just my mom and my sister. My mom worked a lot, because she had to feed 2 kids, you know? And then my sister, older sister, they don't really, it's like we qualm with their little brothers and stuff like that. So, she was in her own world. So I feel like I didn't get enough like attention from the folks around me. So a lot of times I like kind of went to my own world. But I feel like one of my biggest issues in my adulthood is like feeling like I need female validation or validation from female attention.
I'm about to say that. Not
And
female
like, I mean,
validation,
crazy enough that I have the
attention
occupation of a musician, because in like
from female validation.
it's nothing but
Yes.
it's nothing but like well, male and female attention rather. But what I seek was specifically female attention. So it kind of worked in so many different ways. It can be from like simple as just like flirting or like, sliding in DM or saying a couple things here and there. Yeah, the problem was like after like everything that was there that I felt, it just dissipated. And even for that, like I'm still understanding that,
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's weird to think about. And it's not something that I'm like the most stoked on, or happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important to acknowledge that it's, again, a part of culture conditioning, a part of what you saw worked. And also it did get you the result that you wanted, but just like it's like fast food, right? Like it gets you the food, but it's not the best or healthiest.
Yeah.
But it's quick, it's accessible, and it's obviously positioned in certain places for a systemic reason. But like it was fast food attention, and it was providing what you didn't have when you were 8 years old, right? Like that attention, that validation from women, and a lot of it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately too, like sometimes the more that you play into the game or do the habit, the more attractive that you become. So it's like, well, how could it be so bad if this is what everybody wants?
Is that a question or is that like a statement?
Okay, so let me wrap this to you, Chanel. Hearing all this makes me wary of dating. You should be wary of dating. You should be. You should be worried about it. You should be expecting people to manipulate you. All of that. And that's, to me, that's not a bad thing. A lot of people like to think you being hyper vigilant is a bad thing, but I think it's a protection tool, especially when you know what's at stake. You should be hyper aware and protective of your person because of how you can be used because of your emotions, right? So the way I imagine this is that you have to be able to be disciplined about enjoying somebody's energy, but as soon as they do something that makes you feel like you're about to betray yourself, you cut it off. You can't give them an opportunity to convince you. You have to see it as soon as you see it, as soon as you feel the feeling. There's always like a moment where the person makes you feel like shit. Either they disappointed you, they missed something, they said something, but something ends up making you feel like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. This person is not who I thought they were. But then they recover and it makes you feel like, oh, okay, maybe I was just tripping. The first time you have that moment, reflect on it deeply and ask yourself, could it have been on purpose? If you think there's a possibility that they could have did that shit on purpose, I'm gonna tell you to back all the way the fuck up. Emotionally detach. You have to get to a point, and it's hard, but I think it's something that you can battle with in your mind until you gain more control. But you have to be able to enjoy people and keep your emotions separate from theirs so that if they are harming you, it's easy to let them go. I'm just gonna say.
Or is that both?
Maybe a reflection point, but you can you could do what you want with that.
I would say even
dread. Yes, the feeling is usually dread. Yes.
In that, I think because what was how did you phrase it? The last thing
How
you
can
said?
something be so bad when it seems to be what everybody wants?
Okay. Because it always ends in pain. Who I would have these moments with, it will always end up in them being like hurt by my actions, by my distance, by my change in like communication or habits or anything like that. Like it would just drastically change. And because they're intelligent women, they will understand why. So it's just like, damn, like I thought he was different, but he's just another fuckboy. And I think that continuous pattern of hurting somebody, if you have any type of empathy or conscious, you'd be like, oh, like this really sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that made me want to go to therapy and want to figure out like what is going on and why do I feel this way, And also like the level of guilt that you feel from it is like so heavy. Like that level, it just pulls me out. Like my daily operations are not smooth. I cannot handle my agendas because it's just, I'm so heavy in thought. And it's like this continuous like loop in my brain, of like, damn, like, I don't know. It's just the pain is just very like heavy.
Yes.
But I guess it's not my pain. It's their pain. And I feel their pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's very like consuming.
You know what's so interesting about this is we chatted with Mario and
it feels like when you're
his
being
thing
hurt.
was talking about mother wounds.
Mhm.
And for him, into the same cycle. And similarly, he was like, it was never about the sex.
Yeah.
It was like, I wanted them to want and need me. And so I'd always take it past that level.
Yeah.
Even when they were like, it could just be sex, I would dilute.
Also, I need y'all to peep how these men have a level, Jadena, him, and Mario. There's a level of femininity, not in the physical all the time, but in the way they emote. There's a feminine aspect to it, which is the reason why they can see what they're doing. And I think him feeling bad about it, that's also an extension. Like that you have to learn how to undo this compulsion because it's hurting you too. Like, and I also received that. I received that as like that last situation and how sometimes us being together, it was like, why are you having this like shut down, painful, like this is hurting you, but you're hurting me. Like, I don't even understand. Like, I would just be like, what the fuck is going on? Because this happened to me more than once. And when it happens in different dressing, it's like, what the fuck is happening? Yes. There's a level of, sensitivity and vulnerability that they exploit and weaponize in order to manipulate. And it's so toxic. And yes, and I think it does come from being a musician and being able to tap into a power, a creative.
Them and be like, no, like there's something more here.
Yeah.
Even in the back of his mind, knowing it's really not going to be. But
Let me wind this for y'all so y'all can hear what she said.
we're like, it could just never about the sex.
Yeah.
It was like, I wanted them to want and need me. And so I'd always take it past that level.
Yeah.
Even when they were like, it could just be sex, I would delude them and be like, no, like there's something more here.
Yeah.
Even in the back of his mind, knowing it's really not going to be. But
Yeah.
for him, when the women felt pain or when he saw the pain in his face, he almost felt a nothingness. And that, he said, kind of linked to the fact that he was still so angry at his mom. I read this book once. It was an old book from like the 60s that was talking about men who have mother wounds. And they were saying that there is no guilt, that there is almost like there's a deserving, that the feminine deserves this pain. It deserves this.
Ooh.
That right there, before he even continues, I know it to be true because that is what my dad implemented inside of me, right? A lot of times when your parents are like abusive or in these toxic relationships, whatever their ism is, they implant it inside of their children. So there's literally a moment, two connecting moments. I experienced my father being abusive to me and to my mother all of my life. This comes to a head when I hear a conversation that he's having between he and his mom, when I realize that there is a validation that is so deep inside of him that he is seeking from his mom, my grandmother, and she refuses to give it to him on some level. And because he cannot feel validated by her. I can tell how deeply it hurt him. It was when I stopped being angry at him and started seeing him as like a broken little boy. And also because he got sick after that. So he became to be physically frail. And he wasn't as much of a threat in the same manner to me because I started to see him as somebody I needed to handle with kid gloves. Like he was having, like he would start, like when he would start acting like an asshole or getting mad about stupid shit, like my mom helping the little neighbor girl. She needed to get ready for prom. So, and her mom is deceased. So my mom helped her get ready and she was in my parents' bedroom and my dad was like mad because he doesn't want anybody in their bedroom that's not family. And I remember being like, Dad, like, stop. Like, just stop. Like, in my mind, I'm feeling his energy. I want him to let it go because he's holding on to the anger about it like a dog with a bone. And I'm like, Dad, like, just let it go because he's physically weak because he's dealing with chemo and radiation. And it's like, stop holding on energetically to these things that are tiring you out and you're trying to fight to live. Stop it. Like it was really like me recognizing the feeling he had within himself was that if I stop being mad, I'm losing this fight. And I would be like, Daddy, my whole tone changed with him in those last few months because I heard that conversation that he was having with his mom and it made me see him for the weak person that he actually was, because you don't have any power with her. You overexert your power where you have it with me and mom. And the way mom loves you, you take advantage of that and hurt her. And it really is you being angry about the fact that your mom doesn't want to give you the type of love and validation you feel that you deserve or that you needed. So even though my mom is giving you that type of love, you can't see how you're hurting her and blaming her for it is an extension of you being mad at your mom. There was a similarity in ditziness, the way he viewed his mom and the way he viewed my mom. He saw them as ditzy. And they acted ditzy. They did. But it was because of disassociation from abuse. And he didn't even get it. As book smart as he was, he didn't even get. His mom couldn't give him emotional validation because she was disassociating because your dad was abusive to her as well. And then you become abusive to my mom. She disassociates. And now I have to heal and deal with on a daily basis the aggravation I feel whenever my mom needs something from me. And my mom is getting older, so her need for me sometimes comes off sometimes as either an actual need or manipulation. Like you just want to ask me to do something so that you can have a moment of connection with me. Oh, I need help with this. You really just want to talk, or you really just want me to come over. But instead, you need to give me a task because you feel like that's the only way I'll come around. And that's not how I work. So that annoys the fuck out of me that every time I pick up the phone, it could possibly be you needing or wanting something from me that exhausts my energy. And so now I'm also feeling this same aggravation and anger of you not knowing how to do shit or needing from me in some type of way. And I get angry like my dad. But I know I can't really be like that. That's not fair. My mom is getting older. There are some things that she is going to be losing as time goes on. And I can't be losing patience with her as she gets older. I have to gain patience. I have to gain more empathy so that I can be there for her. Because I'm not going to do anything other than that. So, you know what I mean? Like, instead of being abusive towards her, I recognize how I have to heal myself so I could deal with her better, which is something that they couldn't even do for me. Let's continue. But I'm just saying, these niggas being mad at their moms and not wanting to deal with it, not wanting to be honest about it, and then just disseminating that shit to the women they're in relationships with. Like, you really shouldn't feel like she deserves to be mistreated. You should not feel like anybody deserves to be mistreated. As soon as you feel like somebody deserves to be mistreated, you need to ask yourself why you feel that way. Because a lot of the times I've noticed it repeats in the way we see some of these situations with the Diddy case, with R. Kelly, the victim blaming shit. Because that's essentially what it is. That's the same theme. You're abusing somebody and you're looking for a way to make them the reason for why you're doing abusive behavior, when really you need to control yourself and your own emotions, and then you can deal with the other person. But until you learn how to do that, you will simply be abusing people because you can.
I think in those moments, yeah, for sure. In those moments, I could see a woman just bawling in front of me and not feel anything. And honestly, there's pleasure that came with once she says, I'm not doing this again. It's done with it. Reeling her back in. It was a pleasure that came with it. It was like this, it was even more powerful every time.
Y'all, I experienced that with a fucking woman. I experienced that with a male identified, I love my ghetto ass mama that loves to ask me for shit woman. And every time over the years that we have stopped talking, and months, maybe years have gone by, she will always come back and reach out and feign admiration and love so that she can hook me into a relationship of some sort, whether it be friendship or romantic, that leads me feeling like I am chasing her and she's being chased, even if that is not the dynamic whatsoever, whether it's in conversation, whether it's, oh, I'll call you back and never call you back, all of that type of shit. Like, she will really, look, happy birthday, I love you, all of that. Yeah, you're still trying to get me locked in again so we can repeat this same pattern that makes you feel so much better about yourself that I would allow you to mistreat me and make you feel like you're better than me for the moment. The fact that I now recognize that you even coming back to apologize is not about really being sorry, but really just about pulling me back in again. Oh my God, today.
Time after time that it happened. And yeah, I'm guilty of that in the past, for sure. And it definitely comes from feminine wounds. Yeah, for sure.
And now that you can look at it the different lens, like, what's the real why? Because it seems just Thanos evil.
The shift for me, I think, was like losing my mom.
But yours is a totally different experience. Because
Mario is not healed, y'all. Mario is not healed. He's feigning it like he's healed because he has to be honest. He's being honest about it, but it's not completely healed. It's almost a mechanism inside of themselves that they can always run back to. And it has to take a lot of work in order to not be like that, even in the confines of a committed relationship, to not be cruel for the sake of control. Like, it's hard to do. And his whole demeanor tells me he's still Thanos evil.
because it's kind of the same pattern, the same behavior, but a completely different response.
I'm glad you said that too, because that's literally what links it. Because watching my dad cheat on my mom and seeing the pain that she felt, like, and how it affected her for years after, like during and then after, it was like insane. Like I know she didn't trust men for a long time, and she was like, I don't even want to think about even entertaining a man until you guys are like in college. 4 years go by, college is done, still not dating men. 4 years go by after that. Like, it took her a long time to like trust another man and actually want to like build something. And like, I would say that was probably like 20 years or so.
Wow.
And
but now she good?
Oh, she good now.
Yeah.
She good now.
Yes,
yeah, no,
Mom.
my stepdad is amazing. Wonderful man. But yeah, it took her that long. I know
It's helping me too.
that pain. I looked in her eyes like many days and just seeing like that weight on her. So that's funny. I never made that connection. I'm just very much me, and I'm very much like fine with like my feminine energy and everything. But like a lot of dudes feel like they need to like be like super aggro and like masculine. Like they're like walking squares. Like just, hetero cis men have a fear irrational fear of being like being fucked by another man.
Yeah.
I think the hetero male experience can sometimes be a bit cubicle.
Now think about if every man knows that another man's fear is getting fucked by another man. I need y'all to see how scary Diddy actually is. I think some people don't see how scary Diddy is. But to me, if you know that men who scare everybody else, their biggest fear is being fucked by a man. And so homophobia usually keeps them from being the I'll fuck another man type of nigga, which is scarier to men than the men that would rape women, right? Because there's a level of men that feels like, well, as long as you're not gonna fuck a man, then it's okay. We don't really care about how y'all treat women as long as y'all not treating us like that. Like there's a mentality of that. And so they have this fear also because of the way they deal with women in this very predatory manner. And much like white people are scared that black people are going to do to them what they've done to black people, I think men are often scared that somebody's going to do to them what they do to women. For real. So that's interesting to me. But I think people should pay attention to the fact that if you know what a man's greatest fear is and you're always walking around threatening niggas out in the open with fucking them or attempting to fuck them, like you gotta peep how uncomfortable Diddy was making everybody around him. That's why 50 Cent, like I'm sure there are other things, but the thing I kept hearing from from 50 Cent, from a lot of those men, the thing that they didn't like about, like other street niggas didn't like about Diddy was Diddy coming at them like he was trying to fuck them. They can act like it's all of this other shit. Oh, it's women, it's business. Yeah, okay. The nigga made you feel like he would fuck you and you would have no choice but to be fucked. That scares you.
I'm just gonna say cubicle. Nobody's used that in that way, I think. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, it's a bit cubicle.
Yeah.
Anyways, and like I think sometimes I'm just
might
too
like
colorful to fit in that cubicle sometimes. So yeah.
I want to share a story and then I want to get back to that because you're such an.
And I think that's also because they don't fear men in the same way that women fear men. Like you probably feel like if he was to fuck you, okay, I might like it. And also as a man, I would be able to fight him off. Whereas with a woman, we would have no choice. Whether we liked it or not, physically, our choice can be taken away from us.
Interesting contradiction to me.
Yeah.
And I
Fair
love
enough.
that. Contradictions are very sexy.
Yeah.
They're very seductive. But we were talking about this with like how deep that fear of getting fucked by a man is.
Yeah.
I don't remember the story, but he was talking with his friends about sometimes when you're eating a girl out, if you find your butt in the air, you're like, put it down. And you're like, what is on the other side of that? Do you think a dude's gonna bust through the door?
But it's more of a power thing. Cause it's like, okay, for me, yeah, I've definitely been like, damn, I'm tooted. Like I need to put this ass down. But it's like, it's not like from a sense of like another dude gonna cut me like, bruh, free meal. Like it's not
Free meal.
But it's not that. It's just, I'm just imagining like, you know what I'm saying? Shorty got her legs open and stuff, and you like going crazy, and she's enjoying it, and she look up and your ass is just tooted. And it's just like, damn, I don't know if I want her to see me this vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? I still got my socks on and shit.
Niggas can keep
I
these
do that
socks
too, by
on.
the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not ready yet to be that vulnerable. So yeah, having my ass tooted may be a little bit too much.
But yes, the other places.
But in other places, yeah.
I've noticed it and I don't care. Like, I remember like seeing it one time and feel, you know, like a dude's ass being in the air while he was eating me out and feeling like, you know, I know he probably feels like self-conscious about that, but like, why? Like, you're literally face deep in coochie right now. Like, it's okay, son. It's fine. Be in whatever position makes you more comfortable for you to stay down there as long as you can. Okay? Like, like the fuck? Like, bitch, if you don't close your eyes and put your head back.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's like you getting the breeze on your ass and stuff like that. So,
like niggas care about shit that women would never really
because
care about.
masculinity is the tightrope, and it's something you have to audition for every day. I love that this is hitting for you.
I was like, oh, that shit funny.
Yeah. it becomes this thing that men have to wake up every day and audition for. And they audition for it even when they're having sex with women. Like they still have to prove that they're straight. They still have to prove that they're a man. And the contradiction for me comes from, okay, so you have a dad who left really early on. That hurt you. You knew how that felt. And you saw the impacts of your mom. And you were like, I don't ever want to see my mom go through this, but I'll put other women through this. And then it's like, you didn't grow up with a male figure. So traditionally that kind of guy would be trying to overperform masculinity to try to get the approval of men. But somehow here you are, fluid and completely fine. So yeah, just make those connections for me.
This episode is sponsored by me because why not? Did you know that Lovers is more than a podcast? It's an entire suite of tools designed to help you reach your intimate potential. Like there's SHAI. You can ask my AI anything, or as I call her, SHAI. Sign up for my weekly newsletter or check out my free resource library of quizzes and worksheets at loversbyshan.com. Want more? Join the Lovers community for $20 a month. This is a space to connect with others who share our passion. Book one-on-one time with me, join weekly classes, and even be a part of the podcast. Okay, that's a whole lot of information, but here's the bottom line. If you are ready to enjoy the journey of creating a euphoric, intimate life as much as you're going to enjoy the destination, then head over to loversbyshan.com. And I'll see you there.
I have had like such a recent, like I'm craving to read some books on like different ways of having sex. And what I mean by that is like because I'm already kind of like in a certain community in New Orleans where, you know, they do burlesque or they do different types of like demonstrations, tying people up, wax, what's it called? Saran wrap, bondage, BDSM. Like I'm already in this like community of being a voyeur of these things, like, learning, watching, seeing whatever's going on. But I know that there's even more than that. Like, I know there's even more than that. There's like semen retention and all of these other ways about prolonging orgasms and also different parts on your body that invoke that same feeling that aren't your nether regions. Like, I'm fascinated about it. And it's like now I'm getting into this mindset of wanting to study that. So yeah, I need some book recommendations.
You didn't grow up with a male figure. So traditionally that kind of guy would be trying to overperform masculinity to try to get the approval of men. But somehow here you are, fluid and completely fine. So yeah, just make those connections for me.
I don't know.
Because the math should be different. Then you probably were like such a sniper to women because you're not the stereotypical man's man.
But it shows you the way women are willing to accept men that are not in this hyper masculine box. It shows you that women's obsession with people like Prince should let y'all know that women do not need men to be hyper masculine in order to be attracted to them. And in all honesty, it's usually easier to fall for them even harder if there is a level of femininity in the way that they relate.
You have this sensitivity towards women because of your mom. And even though you didn't maybe have tons of time.
Signing up for Shan Booty's community, Lovers by Shan, you can go to her page on YouTube, because this is where I'm playing this from, her YouTube page, Lovers by Shan, Shan Booty. Y'all can go to her website and sign up and do the whole thing. Because I love her content. I might become a part of the community too, just to see what they be talking about, girl.
Time with them. You were still raised in an all-female household. So that had to have impacted your personality a little bit to allow you to connect.
Okay, before I let them finish, somebody just said something. I want to comment on this. Okay, somebody said, I can't date hypermasculine men. I need you to be open and in touch with your feminine side. Same, but then now also, and I noticed this when I went out, I went to the Boots on the Ground Pride event last weekend. And I feel like what I picked up was that I don't like hypermasculine women anymore either. I don't want a bitch with a fade. I don't want you balded out on the sides. Like, I don't want you, because I had a conversation with these two studs. One of them I'm like, longtime friends with. And her girlfriend was like, maybe y'all should fuck, like joking, But I could tell sometimes when people are joking because they want to see how you're going to respond to see if you really want to fuck their girlfriend. And I was just like, nah, money. And we kind of get into this conversation about the type of lover I am versus the type of lover that she likes. And I am the type of woman that I like once I've gotten what I need out of the situation, I am going to be I don't want to say like masculine, but I am very much like if I like you, if I'm into you, like I get into it. Okay. In a very like passionate, give me more type of way. Right. And so I don't want to be with somebody, especially a woman that cannot receive that energy from me. Like it's different with the man. Like I can relinquish control in a way. But when it comes to women, like I don't, yeah, like I will, but that's not why I'm with you. Like I'm not with you so that you can have these moments of feeling like, oh, I don't want my leg, or what the fuck am I like? I can't put your legs to the ceiling. Then what are we doing? And that they would like, my homegirl was like, yeah, bitch, I would have strangled you. I'm like, why do you want to strangle me? Because you want so badly not to have to be vulnerable while having sex with another woman? That's insane to me. That's insane to me that there are women out there that do not want to be vulnerable while having sex with other women. Why do you need to feel like the nigga? That I need y'all to get that together. That's unattractive to me. Like, what are we even doing here? But yeah, y'all just like,
Women more.
Mm.
Is that true or false?
Yeah. Yeah. Nail on the head.
Yes. Yes, I feel like only black women are studs. Y'all need to white people, y'all can call yourselves aggressives. The Latino girls call themselves AGs and aggressives. Like I experienced those in New York. Okay. You could be something else. But studs are specifically the black biracial girls. Okay. And I say biracial because you have to be mixed with black. And being half black and half Puerto Rican, half black, half Asian, all that shit. Yeah, all that shit mean you a stud. Yeah.
Sniper is that has been the main interest in me, I suppose, from women, especially because I date a lot of queer women, like 95% of the time. I don't think I've dated a straight woman in a while, to be honest. But like, I think,
isn't that interesting, y'all? Isn't that interesting? Because there are so many like straight women that don't want to get, they may not be attracted to this type of man, which is totally fine. But I just often feel like, but why? If you're attracted to the dick, you probably gonna get dick down the best by a nigga like this. It's something about these niggas. They listen.
It's so funny. I'm really putting all my business out here. Like, it's really gonna be. They're gonna just.
No, it's just us. What are you talking
about? No, it's fine. I think I'm the exception to a lot of, especially to like queer women, because I am like.
You diabolical.
Because I am like, I guess, very accepted of the feminine.
Yo, he is diabolical. Can you imagine a nigga going get gay hoes so he could dog them out like they in a heteronormative relationship? Not him using his anti-heteronormative mystique as a way to trick women and manipulate them into ending up getting dogged out by just another nigga. That is diabolical, my nigga. Wow. Way to up the ante.
Like my feminine, and because I am like, caring and like I listen and all those things. But
and then but that's what makes it even more dangerous, y'all. That's why I said that women do this shit and it be so diabolical because, bitch, why are you treating me like you're a nigga? What is happening? What's the point? But that's because that heteronormative, toxic, manipulative behavior just transfers through because that's still at the essence of what we doing. We not unwrapping it enough. We unwrapping it a little bit and then thinking we know something. Nah, nigga, you got to be pulling back all the motherfucking layers. Until the studs find their ways to some STEM shit, Get out of my face.
Sniper. Yeah. I see what you mean.
That's diabolical, my nigga.
Well,
Nowhere is safe.
Yeah. When did you
Nowhere is
know that?
safe.
I guess that's like connect the dots for me there then, because like to have all the information that you do, to have the trust of a vulnerable population who lets you in because you don't appear to be like everybody else, to just turn out to be like everybody else.
My
Why
God.
do it?
I feel whole being close to women. Sometimes it's not even really the sex. It's just the closeness, you know? I feel like a lot of times.
That means that you are going to have to be way more honest about the way you handle them. And you're going to you need to have discipline around yourself and how you allow them to engage with you when you know that you mean them no well.
Certain women that I interact with kind of play the girlfriend role in that sense. And then plus the fear of commitment that I've had the fear of commitment makes me feel like I can't commit to one person. So even in previous relationships, I always like, hey, like, can we, do the poly thing? I don't know if I can just commit to one person. And that's been my request for a while now, But also I haven't been in like a real like girlfriend boyfriend relationship since 2021 and stuff. But yeah, I think since then it's been I just want somebody there to like play the role of girlfriend without going all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like because I keep it a buck. Like a lot of times I'm in this home, like I feel like very alone, Even this morning, like cleaning up frantically and like, having to handle other agendas. I'm like, damn, if I had a partner, like these can be shared, what I'm saying? Life would be like so much easier, but it's just like, I'm just taking a lot of things on my back, which is fine, no complaints and stuff. But ideally the goal is to have
sounds like you still want to be near women so that they can do labor for you that you don't want to do for yourself.
A relationship, to have a partnership, and like I don't even need poly at the moment. Like I'm fine with monogamy, But I think the wall that I keep hitting is like, damn, can I commit to one person? That's like, dog, that is the question of the century, is can I commit to one person? And like, I would say yes, but then there's a portion, there's two ways. I feel like because I'm very much like so excitable, especially as like human beings, and there's so many, I feel like there's human beings pop up like plants or something, like like really cool and special ones. And they're always, but I think the difference is me disconnecting myself from greed and feeling like if I run through a garden and I see a pretty flower, I got to pick it and put it in my pocket. Like I had to learn how to just appreciate it from afar and be like, that's a really nice flower. Continue walking, I think that's been the biggest lesson, and I think I've gotten to a better place. But even recently, like, I don't really believe that, like, how can I say this? I always question the word test, especially like God, universe, whatever you want to call it. But I guess there is like checkpoints where it's just like, okay, you say you're ready for this next level. I'm going to allow these certain challenges to happen in your life. And based upon how you handle the challenges, it will let you know and let me know, universe, God, whatever, if you're ready to get to that next level. And I guess maybe because, God is me, it's letting me know, and yeah, like even recently, like I've been so like, I've dropped an album called All American Fuckboy. Like I thought it was going to be like bad for me, like completely, and like I just been at the crib just researching and being a nerd and like.
Bad for you, how?
Oh, like, girls wouldn't, or women wouldn't want to even deal with me because, I'm confessing everything. But then I guess there's a portion of it that women actually like men who are honest and who are accountable and who are like making an effort to change rather than just like hiding everything and just, saving face. You know, I think it's maybe better possibly for women to know what a man is going through, and then maybe in another way feel like they can like help in certain ways. I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been a deterrent. Me saying like, oh, I just dropped an album called All American Fuckboy because like I was cheating on in a previous relationship, I was cheating. I was doing this, I was doing that. You know, dealing with generational trauma, like all these different things. Like I would say that and I say it, you know, chest out, you know, and like, you know, however they take that information, how they take that information. And I'm like, okay, like this would be like the thing that would dead it. I should be like, all right, bye. Like, I'm good. But it'd be like, more interest. And I'd be like, I mean, cool, like great, you know? But I say all that to say, the main challenge, or I guess the most recent pattern has been more attention from women.
Yes, because there's always women that are open to a good experience, especially if they feel like the experience is being honest. The thing that women have a problem with is when they see men like this, they also want to capture these men and keep them for themselves. And you have to get out of that mindset and have more of a, this is a good experience and it's good while we're having it. And then if it's not good anymore, then I can let it go. I really do think we do ourselves a disservice with this. We're going to be together forever shit. And the reason why I say that is because people put that on every relationship that they have, that they should have this expectation that maybe they can be with this person forever. And I think that's such a fairy tale bullshitty way of thinking about relationships. I myself don't even have that type of relationship in my marriage. Like what I will always offer to him as long as he shows up as he has always shown up to me is I will always offer him a safe space. I will always be there for him. He, in essence, I feel like if anything was to, if me and him weren't to be together romantically and anything were to happen to him, I would be there. I would be there. That's the type of loyalty that we have to each other. That doesn't mean that we're going to be in a romantic relationship for the rest of our lives. But the way that we treat each other thus far makes me want to show up for him as long as I can show up for him. But I also have to keep in mind that I come first, and me being there for you can't invade me being there for me. And that's something I've had to learn and really like, and I'm challenged to do because I do like my partner. I do love my partner. I respect him. I want to make him happy, but I also have to make myself happy first. And so that fact means that there are going to be times where I'm going to do shit that you're not going to be comfortable or happy about. And it's going to be a decision of, do you want to stay or do you want to go? I want you to stay, but I'm not going to make you because I want this to be a choice for everybody. I don't want to control somebody. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like once you get out of this idea, and it's not like you don't feel jealous. It's not like you don't feel like, oh, please don't, but you still have to control yourself and your emotions and how you go about trying to change people into what you want them to be. And that's not who they are. You really have to start to accept people for where they are, whatever that looks like. As long as it does not, you know, as long as you can put up the boundaries to protect yourself in the process. Because a lot of times what they promote is accepting fucked up things from people without also protecting yourself. And that's not what I mean when I say it, just to be clear.
Digging through the trenches right now because I'm super aware of like all the patterns. I'm super aware of like how this one thought can turn to another thought, can turn to an action, can turn to me meeting up with somebody, and then it just like continues. Like I'm so aware of it, down to like literally like the most minuscule thoughts. I'm like, that's fuckboy shit. And then it's always like the double path of like you can go this way or that way. You know?
Always.
And it's like
whatever your
I
thing
think
is,
I
it's
had to
always
start looking at female attention and female validation as a drug. And I am an addict. Like I have to look.
The way I had to start looking at relationships like an addict. Remember, I always tell y'all these women are on crack. They act like they on crack. And I tell y'all that relationships very much are reminiscent of being, in a drug habit, especially abusive relationships, because of that cycle of love bombing and then rejecting and then fixing and then love bombing and rejecting and fixing and going over this. Like, it creates a drug addiction in your brain to that person and that cycle.
Look at it that way at this point, because I have to take it so if I don't take it seriously to that effect, whereas a person who is addicted to like alcohol or any drug, then I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing, over and over again. But yeah, that has been a challenge. Even like for my birthday, I just went to Japan by myself, and it was hard. The language barrier, just being there by yourself and everything, not being able to talk to anybody much. And then it was fun, but I feel like I needed that because I just needed to just see what it feels like to just be on my own and not feel like I need to have somebody with me all the time or feel like I need some type of attention, But
No, it is. I feel the same way whenever I travel, especially when I travel alone or something. Like when I would go and work in Florida, I would go through this set of emotions of like sadness and loneliness, but then at some point a freedom and appreciation for my ability to walk around in the world on my own every time.
it's
I was
hard.
a kid.
It's very hard.
Thank you for sharing all that. That was so beautiful. Yeah. And I was smiling midway through because I was like, oh, like I totally get why people would fall for this. And you're not trying to trick anybody, but I just mean like what the packaging of like, I really could use somebody, but I'm afraid of intimacy. I have like a troubled past, but I really have a hole that needs to be filled and I want to be loved. But I have a habit of getting a little bit of that and then dipping once it feels too real. But if I'm hearing that, I'm like, oh, well, he just needs my brand of real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and I see it, because you have identified how you want a partner and why it would make sense and where that need is coming from. But then I'm going to make the argument, there's probably tons of women who were qualified and great who wanted to get that spot.
Yeah.
And why didn't they?
Yes.
Because of my own fear. That's simply it. Just hit the wall and just like, oh, I can't do this. And then I start slowing down on communication and all the other things.
Yeah.
I would do. Yeah. It would just be that fear. Because I can't think of anything else. Personally, I feel like I'd be a wonderful boyfriend.
Yeah, this is so triggering.
Literally, I'd be a great,
this is so triggering.
Great partner, and probably even like a great dad. But it's just a fear.
That's a fascinating part to me because, again, if I think about in Mario's case, the fear for him was, I'm going to love you and you're going to end up being just like my mom. There will never be enough for me. And his mom passed before they even really could have that connection. So that never even.
And this woman, y'all, I always go back to the woman that I'm thinking about that reminds me of him specifically, like with this whole steez. Because it's two different ones, but the most recent one, the way, and her mom had passed away. Her mom passed away years ago. We were sitting on her sofa one day and she says to me, she was like, the way your perfume like clashes. I say clashes because I'm like wearing one perfume, bitch. How can my one perfume clash? But she was like, it's not a bad thing. It reminds me of my mom. And I was just like, I know she don't have really good feelings about her mom because her mom was like, alcoholic, always running behind a man. Just so not me. But the way I could tell she wanted to superimpose her mother onto me at some point. Now hearing this, it makes me feel like this is the reason why you would hurry up and start pushing away once this relationship became something that you weren't expecting. Like she literally said out of her mouth, I wasn't expecting your energy to be how it was. I don't know why, but she didn't expect my energy to be the way it was. It caught her off guard. That's what she says, right? And at some point, people are manipulating you, but they're also telling you a version of their truth, right? If you're listening to it, you just have to hear. So when he's talking just now, I'm like, you're about to turn me into your mom, even though that's not me, but you were going to assign that to me.
and got healed for him.
Yeah.
And that was the fear. But in your circumstance, based on your trauma and your past, the scariest part of the relationship is the man. And you have been the scariest part in all the relationships. So what's there to be afraid of when you're the villain?
So funny because you really just keep, it's the Mario thing too.
Emotional
The Mario thing keeps putting like it all to perspective. The fear is becoming my father and repeating what my father does.
But when you realize that fear, what's on the other side of it, it's the pattern to do it again. Yeah.
And to hurt anyone like how my father hurt my mom. A good amount of it.
But explain to me, if you're afraid of it, why you do it?
These are great questions. It's very simple questions. I don't know. It's a very like out of mind, out of body. Oh, I guess, or more so, it's like sometimes I like pull out of my body and I watch myself do the thing, kind of like an avatar in a game or like a Sims or something. Like I'm watching it happen and I just observe myself. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it's like having a lack of control, a lack of discipline, and just letting like my urges like kind of pull me into this pattern. I think the biggest thing for me is developing a high level of discipline for myself, you know? And maybe because I'm an artist, like if I worked a different job, maybe if I was like an accountant, or maybe if I had like kids or like I had more responsibilities, then it would be a little bit more like defined and I would need to have more discipline. But like, I think the life of an artist, you're allotted to live freely in a sense, and you have to develop discipline for yourself, you know?
I know there's something like so human, and that's where, I mean, the word addiction like resonates with me too. And there are a lot of people experts who battle with the idea of love addiction or sex addiction, and they don't believe those are real things, or porn addiction. And I think of addiction really just like you're on a cycle and you know how it's going to go and you don't like it, but you can't get off. And that's the difference, because it's not an addiction if you like it, right? Like if you masturbate 40 times a day and you still get all your shit done, you still, honor your other priorities, and it like is an enjoyable part of life. Why is that a bad thing? Other than the fact that society told you that like there's a certain amount of this you're supposed to have, or a certain amount of that. And even to your point about polyamory, there's nothing bad about having a non-scarcity mindset towards love. Like just because I love you fully doesn't mean I can't love him fully and love them fully. Like I don't believe that it's a cup that I'm pouring out of.
Right.
So like all those concepts are like fine. It's just that when you're not happy doing it, and that's maybe where the fear isn't even as strong as the cycle. And that's scary.
I mean, I would say even in that example, I would be doing all the things and then I wouldn't get work done. I would be like very much distracted. I'd be pulled away from like my daily agendas of recording, finishing the verse in a song, or like cutting up something for social media, or whatever it may be, you know, or making it to a meeting on time. That's a big one. That's a big one. It's just like I'm like laid up, or like a lot of times I feel like I just gotta masturbate before going to a meeting. It's literally just like, it's a craving. Like I'll be like finished eating my cereal and I got like, okay, let me get in the car real quick because I got like 30 minutes to get there, and it's just like, oh wow, I'm really horny. Like I really need to knock this out. And then wasted time. And then now I'm just like having to like call somebody and be like, hey, like that didn't happen this morning.
So the book that I'm reading right now, talking about how the way the government, the way the state in England decided to deal with men's anxieties around survival was by giving them sex. It's funny to me because I feel like it's something that people don't even realize is being pushed on them because they weren't taught another way to deal with their stressors. If at some point there's state-sanctioned prostitution in order to lull people's anxieties so that you could not give them what they actually needed, which was more autonomy, that is so fucking devious when you think about this young Black man describing it right now, not even knowing that it is absolutely linked to something that was happening between the 13 to 1500s in England. Really the 1500s. But like, you know, like, because I can't remember exactly the time frame that they said this was happening. I'm getting this book in hard copy because I want to be able to look at it. I believe there's a manual that comes with it and everything. But yeah, like I think that's so interesting that you don't even realize how something was state sanctioned at some point because you weren't alive. But the things that were state sanctioned in the 1500s have now created such a normalized way of using sex as a way to quell public anxiety that you don't even realize that when you do it, you're doing it because somebody a long time ago decided that that was better than giving people time, space, land, and not exploiting them. That's wild to me. That's so wild.
Okay. But yeah.
This would actually be the one place that you could be like, hey, I really have to.
You know what it gives? It gives the exploitation of something sacred because I do feel like as humans, we're supposed to experience sex. I think sex is supposed to be pleasurable for a reason. I think it's supposed to be a release for a reason. I think it's supposed to increase endorphins. Sex is supposed to be happening to help you in other ways, not just in like, oh, I'm horny. But sex, especially for women, I do feel like has an overall relaxing anti-anxiety effect on us and our bodies. It even helps us with period pain. Like if you can just, you know, clitorally masturbate on your period, it would help with your cramps and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But because a lot of the times we only think about sex as a way of penetration, you feel like having sex during your period is bad. But no, if it was clitoral, then it would help with the cramps. But anyway, I do feel like sex is something that's actually supposed to be good for us as humans, but it has been corrupted and bastardized and exploited. So now that's all people know of it. They don't even know how it helps in good ways when it's something amongst yourself and not something to be the property of the state. Your sex life is the property of the state as soon as they decided that labor was going to be the main workforce. As soon as they figured that out, everything about your sex now becomes the business of the government and the state that you live in because it's feeding into their ability to continue to create workforce.
Masturbate. I really have to get like a nut off. Like I need half an hour, and I would understand.
Yeah, that's so funny. I often think about what would it be like if like we were allowed to be like just brutally honest. Like how would I know life would be so much different. You know, I feel like we'll be able to adapt to the honesty and then just move accordingly. You know, people will be able to make better decisions about themselves. But I think it's the lack of information that we have between people that is so you just kind of stay in like this delusional mind state, or not delusional, you're just being led on by what you think to be truth, but it's really just like full lies.
Well, with the work that I'm doing, I'm definitely trying to move closer to that world. And I definitely know with the work that you're doing, you're trying to move closer to that world of just honesty.
I think that men are like due for evolution. I keep saying this, but I probably should keep saying this because it's so important. I feel like we've been kind of left behind in the evolutional growth because we've been allowed to, you know, we've been spoiled from society. So I feel like men don't feel like they need to, but it's like on the other side, it's just so beautiful. You know, like imagine men not feeling like they need to solve like political issues and like disagreements in politics in general by like killing like innocent people in their country. I feel like that shit is so like Neanderthalish, but it's very reflective of like toxic masculinity and like lack of evolution, like, mental evolution, I suppose. I don't know. I just think that we're even just like this world, like literally the main issue of this world is men. I feel like there's so much technology that will like pull us out of this whole global warming like crisis that we're in, but it's because of like ego and greed. Like they're going to just keep drilling holes for oil and fossil fuel and all this stuff, and we have technology that we don't need this anymore. But it's like I feel like it's reflective of like toxic masculinity. I really feel like that way.
Yeah, it is.
I do, and I feel even it's as simple as the fuckboy shit, where it's like if we weren't so distracted, as my homies like to say, getting draws. If we weren't so distracted with like being these like player type characters and like juggling women, I feel like we would be capable of doing amazing things. And it's
absolutely.
I think it makes it very hard to not have sex on the mind. Sex is everywhere, but it's a part of the construct, of course, to keep us controlled. It's just to like keep us in this lower state. And it's like if we can keep humans here, then just manipulate them so much easier so they can just keep consuming and keep working. Like I really believe that. I know that's like common knowledge, but like I've seen it used in my life. I'm so much more easily like swayed when I'm like operating from down here versus like if I'm like if it's a bit higher up, like ooh, like I'm I'm a problem. You know, like the amount of things I've been able to accomplish being like higher, it's been like amazing.
Have you got to try a connection from up here?
I tried. I think another part of it is, this isn't like me being facetious, but I think a lot of times women want sex with me. It's like,
Yeah.
I really tried.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of ways in certain relationships, keep platonic.
Absolutely. Bro, I can remember, bro. And that's one of the ways that they get you though, right? Like the sex is addictive, especially because you're so starved of a certain type of intimacy during sex that when you actually get it from somebody, it is the most intoxicating feeling. Yeah, I wanted to play y'all this.
Seeing today with our male world leaders gleefully leading us into total nuclear annihilation and global conflict, more than the existing global conflicts we already have, is nothing more than old angry men with death wishes who are propped up and enabled by pick-me women. These men have aged past the point of virility to the point where not even the strongest dosage of Viagra or Cialis can help them get it up or keep it up when they wake up in the mornings. It's so soft and limp, they have to sit on the toilet to pee like a woman, and that makes them so angry. Then you couple that with the fact that they have decades of unresolved childhood emotional issues, trauma, etc. They likely had difficult relationships with their fathers because they really don't care if their mothers hate them. They can hate their moms just fine, but if their fathers had beef with them or they had beef with their dads, it's now everyone's problem. They're also extremely resentful of the fact that they have to use and leverage their money and their power to get women to have sex with them. And you would think, well, isn't that a good thing? I mean, you have enough money and power to have in your hands to even attract women. Isn't that the goal? Isn't that the desire? And the answer to that is no, because they're mad that women don't just want them for who they are as people, setting aside the fact that these are miserable, horrible, sociopathic, psychopathic, manipulative, narcissistic, dark triad personality having type men, right? It's a heady mix of all of those things. And rather than fucking converting to a religion, rather than buying a fucking diary or a journal like the rest of us do and coping with these things in a healthy way, the whole world has to burn for it. The whole world has to suffer and die for it. Women especially. Please do not be confused, misled, deceived. Please do not, please understand, rather, please do not misunderstand that when they are thinking of these ways to annihilate the human race, essentially, trust me, they're thinking of ways to annihilate women. Women are at the top of their hit list and their shit list because, again, some young, unsuspecting girl in grade school, elementary school, fucking pre-K, didn't give them the time of day. And now the whole world has to die for it. The whole world has to burn for it. So please understand, when we see things like global conflicts and discussions about war and discussions about annihilation, those individuals having those discussions are usually statistically typically men. They're thinking of harming women first and foremost. They're thinking of disenfranchising women first and foremost to make women more likely to either die, like a painful, horrible death, or make women more likely to be vulnerable in some way by virtue of becoming a refugee, by virtue of becoming houseless, by virtue of becoming etc., disillusioned, disenfranchised by a global conflict, so that those women can suffer and be punished for being women. Because even if those men, these male world leaders, don't have direct access to the women that they are hoping to disenfranchise through nuclear global conflict, the very thought that there is some random woman or group of women out there suffering as a direct result of these male world leaders' actions is the only thing that can make them erect. Like I said, the strongest dosages of Viagra and Cialis are not doing it for them. Okay, herbal remedies are not doing it for them. The most vile pornographic fantasies are not doing it for them. It's the thought of women suffering. Follow women by any other marginalized or disenfranchised group of people, ethnic and religious minorities, indigenous groups, etc., etc. That's all that's getting them off, is that they can't get women, and now the rest of us, women and otherwise, have to pay for it.
Now, shout out to Alex Rose M _ on TikTok. Now think about Diddy and how he's making women have sex for 18 hours, but somehow convincing y'all that women actually want to do that, even though y'all are walking around with pussies and y'all know that that shit don't feel good to be having sex for all of them goddamn hours. Okay? Think about how all of those kings back in the day say that they were fighting for women. They were asked, oh, she asked for the head of John the Baptist. Get the fuck out of here with all of that shit. That is usually cap. It's usually bullshit that men are warring on behalf of women. No, they're not. They might be warring to control women, but they've never been warring on behalf of protecting them. That's fucking cap. Okay? Caparoonie. But yes. Y'all heard of all the different ways that this goes back to niggas being mad at women. And what did we just talk about with him? He mad at his mama. Mario mad at his mama. I wish everybody would just get over it.
But
over it.
I think it's frustrating for them because they're just like, well, usually like if I do this and that, you know, bruh, ripping his clothes off, you know? And I'm just like, let's watch a documentary, you know? And I think it may be frustrating in certain interactions I've had. But yeah, like.
Well, there's an unlearning for them as well.
Yeah.
There's an unlearning of like what validation and what actually being liked by a man can feel like. And it can be sex too, but there's a different energy when you're even approaching sex from here versus from down there.
Yeah.
There is a different intention to it. There's a different intention to the aftercare, to the way that we lead up to it. And so it doesn't have to be removed from it. I think people often like use sex as like the focal thing. I was talking about this with celibacy, that people think that if I just stop having sex, then I'll stop all the behaviors that I don't like about myself, whether that be people pleasing or manipulation. It's like, that's not going to stop it.
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Whether you, right. It's so much deeper.
Yeah, it's so much deeper for sure. But yeah.
To bring things full circle to today, what does your love life look like today? And I'm asking that question also in reflection of knowing that your sex life and your love life impacts your work life too. So all of it, like what's feeling good today and what are you moving towards?
What feels good today is knowing that I'm now back in a place where I want to have a partnership. I think for a long time I was just so afraid of that. Like I said, which is why I haven't like been in a relationship since 2021. I've dated, but like I haven't been like in a real like boyfriend girlfriend relationship. So I think being in a place where I want that again for myself, I think that's exciting. And breaking down the walls of fear is like also exciting. I'm still figuring a lot of things out. Like I said, like the tension has like grown a bit more since this album has dropped. So like a big, or maybe the fear comes in like, what do I do with it in that sense? Recognizing, knowing that it's a problem, recognizing that it's coming my way and just figuring out how to work that out. But I wouldn't even say my love life is what's most exciting in my life right now. Like, I'm okay with that. I think there's like other things I want to accomplish, even outside of music, you know? Like I'm very much like consumed with like alternative like forms of like renewable energy and energy generation and like free energy and everything. And like aligning myself with people who are actually trying to save this world, you know? And I think that feels like that goal feels bigger than like my life. Like I think my life is for me to enjoy it, but it's like, because I'm eventually gonna like die later, it's kind of like your impact on this planet. And I think my impact is like consuming me more than like my own personal gain or pleasures at the moment. Yeah, and I think when that time happens, maybe in that journey, like I'll find somebody and it'll be like, like it'll be amazing. And I have to have faith that that's
Yo, I literally just liked the post on Threads from Sheila Marie. Y'all know Sheila Marie, who used to go, who's married to what's that rapper name? They was on like one season of Love and Hip Hop. Love and Hip Hop Miami. But Sheila Big Fine Self did the retreats for the women, and then they got mad that she didn't want to let white women on the retreat. Remember Princess Love and all of them was tripping out on her because of that. Sheila put on Threads the other day that the more she grows, the less she wants to obtain a certain level of success. It was something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Hold up. Because I want to tell y'all exactly what it is. But I remember like typing back, same. The way I am viewing things now, like just certain things aren't feeling as important to me as they used to. Let me see if I can find it. Doom, 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 doom. Oh, where is it? Oh my God. Why do y'all have to be so difficult on Threads? Let me see. Did I repost it? I'm gonna let this keep playing and then I'm gonna pull it up when I find it.
Gonna happen, but it seems like this whole relationship thing isn't like working out at the moment, or at least in a while. And like I'm better, like I have more tools to work through it and like call out when I'm having like these fuckboy thoughts. But I don't know. I think I just have to figure out ways to work through these like feelings of being lonely feelings, I suppose, and find out how to like love myself, how to date myself, how to like enjoy my time, you know, and then just really focus. I don't know if that's healthy or not, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm being caught that way right now.
I could ask you a million more questions, but I'm sure everybody here wearing their socks and sweaters is like, shut up. We are hot. So the question I do want to ask is, speaking of...
Okay, I found it, y'all. I found it. She said, a while ago, I posted, the more I heal, the less ambitious I become. That. I've been sitting with that, and I want to clarify something. It's not that I've become less ambitious. It's that my ambition has shifted direction. The more I get to know myself, the more my desires move inward. And I felt like I understood what she said. She didn't need to to like rectify it. Cause of course this is not where I want to stop. Like there's more growing to do. There's more evolving to do. There's more for me to do. Yes, married to Ace Hood. But the more I heal, the less ambitious. There is a level of, now that I recognize, and I've always kind of felt what more fame would give, which is more eyes, which is less safety. Money. A lot of money will sometimes put you in a situation where you are now having to deal with people that are way more grimy. There's less peace if you're always trying to hold on to your wealth in a certain way once you get to a certain point. Which is why I've always felt like all I need is, the level of living on my beach house or whatever beautiful house that I have. And it's not about it being like a whole bunch of money, but being somewhere beautiful, comfortable enough for me and whoever is around me and that I love to be able to come there and be comfortable. And just having my little piece of peace somewhere that is somehow reflective of nature and how I am fed by that. That's what I would want for myself. And that doesn't require $1 billion. I don't even think it requires $100 million. Maybe about 10 or so, depending on how terrible this climate is going to be. Okay. But like, it's funny to me to feel like there was a level of, I want to get to like this Oprah level of doing this shit. And I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't need to. Like, I want to get bigger than this, but not in that way. Not in that way. I don't need to get to that level with this shit. That doesn't interest me. I like to have a certain level of anonymity. And so I feel like I can gain more to get me where I would be comfortable in this life. But that doesn't mean that I need to be somewhere in the fucking stratosphere, because there are things about that I don't like either, if that makes sense.
Time, you have had an incredible year this year.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime dream come true, and it's continuing.
Yes.
Tell us about all the cool things that are happening and where you want people to go to learn more about you.
See, like we said, I dropped this album, All American Fuckboy, and the conversations that I've been having, including this one today, we're literally sitting in what I wanted. Like, what's happening now is what I wanted from this album.
I so want to go listen to this album.
That's the success of this album, is the conversations. It's the things that give me purpose. It's the things that like create some type of change, make people think, make people talk, piss people off, make people happy, make people feel seen, whatever. Like, this is the success of it. And I'm like thrilled. Like, even you like hitting me up, I'm like, damn, that's really cool. You know, I don't even know that you listen to my music or anything, but it's like everything is like aligning, you know, and the conversations are happening. And like, I hope there's more conversations even outside of me, you know. But and I feel like this album unlocks something in my mind where it's like, I don't want to make passive art anymore. And I loved all my creations before. They were amazing, they're beautiful, and I felt so free doing them. I just felt that sometimes the subject matters were a little bit more passive than I wanted them to be. And like, I would rather like make art that has like a purpose and has depth, you know. Because I think like it's vanity to make things right now that don't have depth, because look at America right now. Like, it's insane. It feels like a movie. So I feel so empowered to have dropped this project, and I'm excited, even outside of like these 21 tracks, what comes after the 21 tracks, you know? That's what, once again, is making me feel fulfilled. And then getting ready to tour this album.
By far the best answer I've ever gotten to the like, what do you have coming up question?
Yeah.
By far the best answer to that. And I actually think that no longer creating passive art feels like a good ending to say like no more passive intimacy either.
Yeah.
I like this. This was good. I think I'm gonna leave it right there, y'all, because I'm hungry. I need you to do I need your MFN advice. Please do another one soon. I will try to get one before I go to Bali. But yeah, y'all, this was an amazing conversation. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I love that message. I love that message that he gave, because that's the same way I feel about what I do. Like, I do feel like there's an artistry to this. There's a seeking within myself to be educated and to evolve and to be happy, that I then want to share and spread with other people. I think that makes it deeper. I think that makes it matter. I think that makes it art, you know, in my way of doing it, in my medium of doing it, right? So I hope y'all enjoyed, because I enjoyed doing this. I hope y'all got something out of it, because I did. Okay. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a really good weekend, and I will see y'all next time. Peace out, y'all.